when a mysterious envelope appeared at a struggling Chicago community center with $50,000 inside and no name, just a hand-drawn basketball stamp. Nobody knew who sent it. But 10-year-old Emma Rodriguez was determined to find out. Because 3 years earlier, someone had secretly paid for her little brother's life-saving surgery. Someone had been watching over her family. Someone had been saving lives in the shadows for years. Emma started investigating. She found clues. She followed the trail, and what she discovered was bigger than she ever imagined. The anonymous donor wasn't just helping her family. He was helping hundreds of families, paying medical bills, funding scholarships, keeping community centers open, all without ever revealing his name. Until today. Today, the truth finally came out. And when Emma stood face to face with the man who saved her brother's life, she couldn't believe who it was. The greatest basketball player in history had been their guardian angel all along. But why did he hide for so long? What made him finally reveal himself? And what happened when a 10-year-old girl taught a legend the most important lesson of his life? Watch this whole video to find out how one thank you changed everything, how gratitude turned strangers into family, and how the real championship had nothing to do with basketball. This is the story of Michael Jordan's secret that stayed hidden for 25 years, until a brave little girl refused to let kindness go unnoticed. The rain hammered against the windows of the Southside Community Center like 1,000 tiny drummers. Emma Rodriguez pressed her nose against the cold glass, watching the puddles grow bigger in the parking lot. Tuesday mornings were always quiet at the center, but today felt different. Today felt heavy, like the sky was crying. "Emma, me Ammer, come help me with these chairs," her grandmother Rosa called from across the basketball court. Emma turned away from the window and jogged over. At 10 years old, she was already tall for her age, with dark hair pulled back in a ponytail and sneakers that squeaked on the polished floor. She loved this place, the smell of old basketballs, the sound of her footsteps echoing in the empty gym, the way the net swished when she made a perfect shot. But lately, things had been changing. Fewer kids came to after-school programs. The paint was peeling off the walls. Last week, 2 of the basketball hoops broke and nobody had money to fix them. "Abuela, is it true?" Emma asked quietly as she helped stack the metal chairs. "Is Mr. Thompson really going to close the center?" Rosa's wrinkled hands paused on a chair. Her eyes looked sad, the way they did when she talked about Emma's grandfather who had passed away. "Sometimes, Mija, we run out of money to keep good things going, but we pray, we hope." Emma felt a knot tighten in her stomach. Her little brother Carlos needed this place. He was only 7, and his medical condition made it hard for their mom to work full-time and watch him too. The center's free after-school program was the only reason their family could survive. Without it, everything would fall apart. The front door banged open, and Mr. Thompson rushed in, shaking rain from his jacket. He was a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes that crinkled when he smiled. But he wasn't smiling now. He was holding a large white envelope, staring at it like it might disappear. "Rosa, Emma, you won't believe this," he said, his voice shaking. Emma and her grandmother hurried over. Mr. Thompson's hands trembled as he held up the envelope. It was thick and expensive looking, addressed simply to Southside Community Center in neat handwriting. In the top corner, where a return address should be, there was only a small stamp, a simple drawing of a basketball. "It was in the mail slot this morning," Mr. Thompson said. "No return address, no name, just this." He opened it carefully, like he was afraid it might explode. Inside was a single piece of white paper folded around something. When he unfolded it, a check fluttered to the floor. Emma picked it up. Her eyes went wide. $50,000, she whispered. Rosa gasped and made the sign of the cross. Mr. Thompson just stood there, frozen, reading and rereading the short note that came with the check. "What does it say?" Emma asked, bouncing on her toes. Mr. Thompson's voice cracked as he read aloud. "For the kids, keep going." That was it, 4 words. No signature, no explanation, just $50,000 and a basketball stamp. "This is a miracle," Rosa breathed, touching the check like it was made of gold. "A real miracle." Emma's mind was spinning. Who would send that much money without even leaving a name? Why the basketball stamp? Was it someone famous? Someone who used to come here? Her detective brain, the one that loved solving puzzles and mysteries, kicked into high gear. "Can I see the envelope again?" she asked. Mr. Thompson handed it to her. Emma studied it carefully. The basketball stamp was hand-drawn, not printed. The handwriting was neat but not fancy. The postmark said Chicago, but the date was smudged from the rain. "Someone out there is watching us," Mr. Thompson said softly. "Someone knows we needed help." Emma felt goosebumps rise on her arms. $50,000 would save the center. It would fix the hoops, paint the walls, buy new equipment, and keep the programs running for at least another year. It would keep Carlos safe. It would keep their family together. "We have to find out who sent this," Emma said firmly. "We have to thank them." Rosa smiled and touched Emma's cheek. "Sometimes angels want to stay invisible, me Amber." But Emma wasn't listening. She was already planning her investigation. Whoever sent this envelope was a hero, and heroes deserve to be thanked. Later that afternoon, while helping Mr. Thompson clean out the storage room near the basketball court, Emma found something that made her heart stop. Behind a stack of old gym mats, tucked into a corner covered in dust, was another envelope, identical to the first one with the same basketball stamp. But this one was dated 5 years ago. And nobody had ever opened it. Emma's hands shook as she pulled the dusty envelope from behind the gym mats. The basketball stamp in the corner looked exactly like the one on today's envelope, the same hand-drawn lines, the same careful detail. But the postmark read May 15, 5 years ago. "Mr. Thompson," Emma shouted, her voice echoing through the storage room. "Mr. Thompson, come quick." Within seconds, Mr. Thompson and Rosa rushed in. Emma held up the old envelope like a detective presenting evidence at a crime scene. "Where did you find that?" Mr. Thompson asked, his face going pale. "Behind the mats, it's from 5 years ago. Look, same basketball stamp, same handwriting." Emma's heart pounded in her chest. "Why is it here? Why didn't anyone open it?" Mr. Thompson took the envelope carefully, studying it like an ancient artifact. His hands trembled as he turned it over. 5 years ago. That was right before I became director. The old director, Mrs. Walsh, she retired suddenly. Maybe in all the confusion of the transition, this got lost. "Open it," Emma urged, "please." Mr. Thompson slid his finger under the sealed flap and pulled out the contents. Another check, this one for $50,000, dated 5 years earlier. Another note with the same 4 words. "For the kids, keep going." Rosa sank onto a stack of mats, fanning herself. 2 envelopes, 2 miracles. This is no coincidence. But Emma's detective mind was working faster than ever. "Mr. Thompson, have there been other envelopes, not just these 2? Mr. Thompson looked at her with strange expression, surprise mixed with something else. Recognition, maybe. He walked slowly out of the storage room, and Emma and Rosa followed him to his small office down the hall. The office was cramped and messy, with papers stacked everywhere and old basketball trophies lining the shelves. Mr. Thompson opened a locked drawer in his desk and pulled out a worn accordion folder. "I was going to tell everyone eventually," he said quietly. I didn't know how to explain it." He spread the contents of the folder across his desk. Emma's jaw dropped. 5 envelopes, all identical, all with the basketball stamp, all with checks for $50,000, all with the same note, "For the kids, keep going." "This has been happening for 5 years, Emma whispered. Mr. Thompson nodded slowly. "Every year, right when we're about to run out of money, right when I'm about to announce we have to close our doors, an envelope appears. I never told anyone because I was afraid if word got out, the donations would stop. I was afraid someone would try to find the donor and scare them away." Emma counted quickly in her head. 6 envelopes total, including today's and the lost one. $300,000. Someone had been saving this community center, saving her family for 5 years without anyone knowing. "There has to be a pattern," Emma said, spreading the envelopes in a line by date. "Look, they don't come on the same day each year. This one's in May, this one's in September, this one's in January. They come when we need them," Mr. Thompson said softly. "Somehow, whoever this is knows exactly when we're in trouble." Rosa picked up one of the old envelopes, tears rolling down her cheeks. 3 years ago," she said, her voice breaking. 3 years ago in November. That's when Carlos had his first surgery." Emma turned to her grandmother. "What do you mean?" "I wrote letters, Mija. So many letters to charities, to organizations, begging for help with your brother's medical bills. We had no money. The surgery cost $40,000 and we had nothing. Rose's hand shook as she held the envelope dated 3 years ago, November. 1 week after I sent those letters, someone paid the hospital bill. The hospital said it was an anonymous donor. I always wondered. Emma felt like the floor had disappeared beneath her feet. Her little brother Carlos, her funny, brave little brother who loved superheroes and always shared his candy, had almost died 3 years ago. The doctors said without the surgery, he wouldn't make it to his 8th birthday. Someone had saved him. This wasn't just about keeping a community center open anymore. This mysterious person with the basketball stamp had literally saved her brother's life. "I need to find them," Emma said, her voice fierce with determination. "Whoever this is, they need to know what they did. They need to know about Carlos." "Emma," Mr. Thompson started, but she cut him off. "No, you don't understand. This person is a hero, a real hero, and heroes should be thanked." That evening, Emma sat at the small desk in her bedroom, which she shared with Carlos. Her brother was asleep in his bed across the room, his chest rising and falling steadily. 3 years ago, she'd sat in a hospital waiting room, terrified she would never see him breathe again. She pulled out a fresh notebook, the one she'd been saving for something special, and wrote on the first page, "The basketball stamp mystery." Underneath, she began making notes. 6 envelopes over 5 years. Always $50,000. Always when center is in crisis. Basketball stamp hand-drawn. Someone who knows when we need help. Someone who helped Carlos. Emma opened her laptop, an old one that barely worked but good enough for research. She needed help and she knew exactly who to call. She video called her best friend Jamal, who answered after 2 rings. Jamal was in Emma's class at school and loved mysteries almost as much as she did. His room was covered in posters of detectives and superheroes. "Emma, it's almost 9 o'clock. What's up?" "Jamal, I need your help with something big, like really big." She told him everything, the envelopes, the money, the pattern, Carlos's surgery. Jamal's eyes got wider and wider. "This is incredible," he breathed. "This is like a real-life superhero story. Will you help me figure out who it is?" "Are you kidding?" "Of course. When do we start?" "Tomorrow, after school. We meet at the center and start investigating." After she hung up, Emma pulled out a piece of lined paper and began writing a letter. Her handwriting wasn't as neat as the mystery donors, but she wrote from her heart. "Dear basketball stamp person, you don't know me, but my name is Emma Rodriguez. I'm 10 years old and I go to the Southside Community Center almost every day. Today I found out that you've been helping us for 5 years. I found out that you saved my little brother's life 3 years ago when he needed surgery. I don't know who you are or why you help us without wanting anyone to know, but I want you to know that Carlos is alive because of you. He just turned 7. He loves Spider-Man and mac and cheese. He laughs at my jokes even when they're not funny. He's the best brother in the world. Because of you, he's still here. I'm going to find you, not to expose you or make you feel bad, just to say thank you, just to let you know that what you did mattered more than anything. Thank you for being a hero when nobody was watching. Love, Emma Rodriguez." She folded the letter and put it in her desk drawer. She didn't know where to send it yet, but when she found the donor, she would give it to them in person. Emma looked over at Carlos, sleeping peacefully, his Spider-Man nightlight glowing softly. Someone out there had saved him. Someone cared enough to help without wanting credit or recognition. She was going to find that person if it was the last thing she did. As she climbed into bed, one more thought struck her. She sat up and grabbed the notebook again, adding one final note. Check the postmarks. Where were the envelopes mailed from? Tomorrow, the real investigation would begin. Outside, the rain had stopped. The clouds parted, revealing a sliver of moon. And somewhere in Chicago, someone who loved basketball was probably sleeping, not knowing that a determined 10-year-old girl was about to uncover their 5-year secret. Emma woke up before her alarm clock rang. Sunlight streamed through the bedroom window, and she could hear Carlos humming in the kitchen while their mother made breakfast. Normal sounds, safe sounds. Sounds that might not have existed without a stranger's kindness. She grabbed her detective notebook and flipped it open. At the top of a fresh page, she wrote, "Operation Thank You Hero." At school that day, Emma could barely concentrate. During math class, Mrs. Patterson caught her staring out the window 3 times. During reading, Emma's mind wandered from the book to the mystery envelopes. Even at lunch, when her friends talked about the upcoming talent show, Emma's thoughts were somewhere else entirely. "Earth to Emma," her friend Destiny said, waving a hand in front of Emma's face. "Are you even listening?" "Sorry," Emma said quickly. "I've just got a lot on my mind." Jamal leaned across the cafeteria table. "Should we tell them about the mystery?" Emma hesitated, then shook her head. "Not yet. I don't want word getting out until we know more. What if it scares the donor away?" After school, Emma and Jamal met at the community center. Mr. Thompson had agreed to let them examine the envelopes more closely. He spread them out on his desk like pieces of a treasure map. "Remember," Mr. Thompson said seriously, "whoever this person is, they want to remain anonymous. Are you sure about this investigation?" "I'm sure," Emma said firmly. "I'm not trying to expose them to the world. I just want to thank them, in person. They deserve that much." Mr. Thompson studied her face for a long moment, then nodded. "Okay, but you tell me everything you find out first, before you do anything. Deal?" "Deal." Jamal pulled out his phone and started taking pictures of each envelope. "Okay, let's be scientific about this. What do we know for sure?" Emma opened her notebook and began making a list. 6 envelopes total, all with basketball stamps, all with $50,000 checks, all arriving when the center needs money most. She paused, chewing on her pencil. "The stamps are hand-drawn. That means this person takes time to make each one special." "That's actually really cool," Jamal said. "They could just write a check and be done, but they draw the same basketball every single time." Emma picked up the oldest envelope carefully. "Mr. Thompson, do you have a magnifying glass?" He rummaged through his desk drawer and handed her one. Emma examined the postmark closely. "This one's from Phoenix, Arizona, May 15th, 5 years ago." She grabbed the next envelope. "This one's from Los Angeles, California, September 3rd, 4 years ago." Jamal's eyes widened. Different cities. Why would someone mail these from different places? Emma's heart started beating faster. She grabbed the third envelope. "Miami, Florida, January 20th. Fourth envelope, New York, New York, June 7th. Fifth envelope, Portland, Oregon, November 9th. She laid out all 6 envelopes in a row, writing down each city and date in her notebook. Then she stared at the list, her mind racing. "They're traveling," she said slowly. "The donor is someone who travels to different cities. But why? For work? For vacation?" Jamal snapped his fingers. "Wait, my dad travels for work all the time. He's a salesman. Maybe this person has a job that takes them all over the country." Or, Emma's eyes went wide, what if it's an athlete? The room went silent. Mr. Thompson leaned forward. "What made you think of that?" "The basketball stamp," Emma said, her words tumbling out faster now. "Someone who loves basketball enough to draw it on every envelope. Someone who travels to different cities. Someone who has enough money to donate $50,000 6 times. A professional basketball player," Jamal breathed. Emma pulled out her phone and Googled NBA schedule 2020. Her fingers trembled as she scrolled through the results. The first envelope was from Phoenix in May 5 years ago. Were the Phoenix Suns playing at home that week? She found the schedule and her heart skipped. Yes, they had home games May 14th and 16th. "Check the others," Mr. Thompson said, his voice tight with excitement. Emma checked each date against NBA schedules. Los Angeles Lakers had home games. Miami Heat played there. New York Knicks were in town. Portland Trail Blazers hosted games. But Emma noticed something even more important. "Wait," she said, her hands shaking. "The Chicago Bulls played away games in all these cities, on these exact dates." Jamal jumped up from his chair. "So we're looking for someone with the Chicago Bulls, a player, a coach." "Or someone who travels with the team," Mr. Thompson added quietly. "Could be anyone, trainer, manager, even family member of a player." Emma's mind was spinning. The Chicago Bulls, her city's team. Someone from the Bulls had been secretly saving her community center for 5 years. "We need to make a list of everyone connected to the Bulls during this time period," Emma said, already turning to a fresh page in her notebook. "Players, coaches, staff members, anyone who would have been on all these trips. That's a lot of people, Emma, Mr. Thompson warned. And remember, many Bulls players and staff members do charity work publicly. Why would one of them hide it? That stopped Emma for a moment. He was right. Most famous athletes who donated money wanted people to know. They held press conferences, got their pictures taken, posted on social media. Why would someone with the Bulls hide their generosity? Maybe, Emma said slowly, they hide it because it's more about the giving than the recognition. Maybe they truly believe in helping without needing credit. Rosa appeared in the doorway carrying a tray of cookies and lemonade. She'd been listening from the hallway. Or maybe, Rosa said softly, they hide it because they understand that sometimes the best gifts are the ones that don't come with strings attached. No expectations, no pressure to perform gratitude, just pure love. Emma thought about that. If the donor revealed themselves, the center would feel obligated to do something special, name a court after them, put up a plaque, hold a big ceremony. Maybe this person didn't want any of that. Maybe they just wanted to help purely and simply. But that didn't change Emma's determination. They still deserved thanks, even if it was private thanks. I'm going to do my school project on this, Emma announced suddenly. Everyone turned to look at her. Mrs. Patterson said we need to pick topics for our community project presentations next week. I'm going to call mine the Anonymous Hero. I'll research why people give anonymously, interview people at the center about how the donations help them, and investigate the psychology of quiet generosity. That's brilliant, Jamal said. And while you're doing research for school, you're also investigating the mystery. Exactly, Emma grinned. And Mrs. Patterson is always saying we should interview real people for our projects. Mr. Thompson, do you know anyone else who was helped by these donations, besides my family? Mr. Thompson thought for a moment. Marcus Washington. He graduated from our program 3 years ago, got a full scholarship to college. The anonymous donations helped fund his basketball training and SAT prep courses. He's studying engineering now. Can I talk to him? Emma asked eagerly. I'll call him tonight. I'm sure he'd be happy to share his story. Over the next few days, Emma threw herself into the project. She read articles about anonymous philanthropy. She learned words like altruism and benefactor. She discovered that some of history's greatest charitable acts were done in secret. Mrs. Patterson was so impressed with Emma's research that she asked her to present to the whole school, not just her class. On Wednesday after school, Emma met Marcus Washington at a coffee shop near his college campus. He was tall and lanky with an easy smile and a basketball scholarship jacket. When Emma explained why she wanted to talk to him, his eyes filled with tears. The center saved my life, Marcus said simply. My dad left when I was 6. My mom worked 3 jobs. The center became my home. Coach Davis taught me basketball, but more than that, he taught me discipline, respect, and how to believe in myself. The anonymous donations, Emma prompted gently. Marcus stared into his coffee cup. When I was 15, I had a chance to go to an elite basketball camp, the kind where college scouts come looking for talent. It cost $3,000. We didn't have $3,000. We barely had money for groceries. He looked up at Emma. Someone paid for it anonymously. The center just told me I'd been selected for a scholarship. I went to that camp, impressed a scout, and got recruited. That anonymous gift changed everything. Do you ever wonder who it was? Emma asked. Every single day, Marcus said. I used to dream about meeting them, thanking them, showing them what I'd become because they believed in me. He smiled sadly. But then I realized something. Maybe the point wasn't for me to thank them. Maybe the point was for me to pass it on. So now I tutor kids for free. I volunteer at youth centers. I'm trying to be someone else's anonymous hero. Emma felt tears prick her eyes. This was what her investigation was really about. Understanding how one person's secret kindness created ripples that spread and spread and spread. That evening, Emma worked on her presentation in her room while Carlos colored at the desk beside her. He was drawing a picture of Spider-Man playing basketball. Emma, Carlos said quietly, why do you care so much about finding the person who helped us? Emma put down her pen and looked at her little brother, her alive, healthy, laughing little brother. Because they saved you, Carlos, and you're the most important person in my whole world. I can't let someone save you and not even say thank you. That wouldn't be right. Carlos thought about this seriously. Maybe they already know we're thankful. Maybe they can feel it. Maybe, Emma said, but I still want to say it out loud. On Friday, Emma presented the anonymous hero to her entire school. She talked about the psychology of giving, the power of anonymous charity, and the ripple effects of kindness. She shared Marcus's story and several others from the center. She talked about how sometimes the greatest gifts come from the quietest givers. She didn't mention the basketball stamps or her theory about the Bulls. She kept those details private, just between her investigation team. The presentation earned her an A+ and a standing ovation. But more importantly, it made Emma realize something crucial. Whoever this donor was, they'd started something beautiful. They'd created a culture of kindness that was spreading through her community like wildflowers. That night, Rosa sat on Emma's bed and stroked her granddaughter's hair. "You know, Mija, my grandmother used to tell me a story about angels," Rosa said softly. She said angels sometimes walk among us disguised as ordinary people. They do extraordinary things but hide their wings so we won't treat them differently. Maybe your donor is one of these angels. "I don't believe in angels, abuela," Emma said. "Not the kind with wings anyway." "Then what do you believe in?" Emma thought about Marcus studying engineering, about Carlos sleeping peacefully, about the center staying open for another year, about all the families who'd been helped without ever knowing who to thank. "I believe in people who choose to be angels," Emma said finally. "I believe in humans who decide to do something good even when nobody's watching. That's more powerful than any wings." Rosa kissed Emma's forehead. "Then you're already halfway to finding your donor, because that's exactly who they are." As Emma drifted off to sleep, her phone buzzed with a text from Jamal. "Emma, I found something huge about the postmarks. Check your email. You're not going to believe this." Emma's eyes flew open. She grabbed her phone and opened the email. Jamal had attached a document comparing all the postmarked dates with not just Bulls away games, but specific player appearances and charity events. And at the bottom of the email, Jamal had written, "Emma, I think I know who it is." Emma's hands trembled as she stared at her phone screen. The glowing words seemed to pulse in the darkness. "I think I know who it is." She wanted to call Jamal immediately, but it was nearly midnight. Her mother would hear. Carlos was sleeping 3 feet away. She typed back quickly, "WHO, tell me now." 3 dots appeared showing Jamal was typing. Then they disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, a message came through, not over text. "Too important. Meet me at the center tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Bring your notebook." Emma barely slept that night. Every time she closed her eyes, her mind raced with possibilities. Which Bulls player could it be? A superstar everyone knew, a quiet bench player nobody talked about, a coach, a retired legend. By 8:30 a.m., Emma was dressed and pacing in the kitchen. Her mother, Sophia, looked up from her coffee with tired but amused eyes. Sophia worked the night shift as a nurse and had just gotten home. "Someone's excited this morning," Sophia said. "Where's the fire?" "Jamal and I are meeting at the center for my school project." Emma tried to sound casual, but her voice came out too high and too fast. Sophia studied her daughter's face. "Emma Rodriguez, I know that look. That's your detective look. What are you really up to?" Emma hesitated. She'd been keeping the investigation secret from her mother, not wanting to get her hopes up. But looking at Sophia now, her mother who worked double shifts to keep them fed, who never complained, who smiled even when Emma knew she was exhausted, Emma felt the truth burst out. "Someone's been saving us, Mama, for 5 years. Anonymous donations. That's how Carlos's surgery got paid. That's how the center stays open. And I'm going to find out who it is so I can thank them." Sophia's coffee cup stopped halfway to her mouth. She set it down slowly and tears filled her eyes. "I always wondered," she whispered. "I prayed so hard for a miracle when Carlos was sick. I begged God, the universe, anyone who would listen. And then suddenly the hospital said the bill was paid. Anonymous donor. I thought maybe I'd finally gotten my miracle." "You did, Mama. And now I'm going to find our miracle and say thank you." Sophia pulled Emma into a tight hug. "You have the biggest heart, Mija. Be careful with it. Sometimes people stay anonymous because they need to. Don't push too hard." But Emma was already out the door. At the community center, Jamal was waiting by the basketball court, his laptop open on the bleachers. He looked like he hadn't slept much either. "Okay," Emma said, dropping her backpack and sitting next to him. "Tell me everything." Jamal pulled up a spreadsheet on his laptop. "I spent all night cross-referencing the postmarked dates with Bulls player movements. Most players stick pretty close to team schedules. They fly together, stay at team hotels, that kind of thing. But I found something weird." He pointed to the screen. "Look at these dates. The envelopes weren't mailed on game days. They were mailed the day after games, always from the same type of location." "What do you mean?" "Post offices near airports. Like the person was mailing them right before flying out of the city." Jamal's eyes gleamed with excitement. "And I found 3 social media posts, 2 from fans, 1 from a sports blogger, that put the same person near these exact post offices on the right dates." Emma's heart pounded. Jamal, who is it?" Jamal took a deep breath. "I think it's—" "Excuse me, are you Emma Rodriguez?" Both kids jumped. A woman stood at the entrance to the gym, older, maybe 60, with gray hair pulled back in a neat bun and kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. She wore a postal service jacket even though she clearly wasn't working today. "Why, yes," Emma stammered. "That's me. My name is Patricia Holmes. I'm retired now, but I worked as a postal carrier for this neighborhood for 20 years. Patricia walked closer, her footsteps echoing. "I saw your school presentation online. My granddaughter goes to your school, and she showed me the video. When I saw you talking about anonymous donations and the community center, I knew I had to find you." Emma and Jamal exchanged glances. Emma's detective instincts kicked in immediately. "You know something about the donations," Emma said. It wasn't a question. Patricia smiled. "I know something. The question is whether I should tell you." She sat down on the bleachers below them. "Come sit with me, both of you." They scrambled down to her level. Patricia looked at them seriously. "First, tell me why you want to find this person. Is it for fame, for your school project, to expose them?" "No," Emma said quickly. "Never. I want to thank them. They saved my brother's life. They saved our whole community. They deserve to know what they did mattered." "What if they already know?" Patricia asked gently. "What if they've been watching from afar, seeing the results of their kindness, and that's enough for them?" "But it's not enough for me," Emma said, and her voice cracked. "My little brother almost died. Someone I've never met paid for his surgery. How can I just go on with my life without saying thank you? What kind of person would that make me?" Patricia's eyes glistened. She reached out and squeezed Emma's hand. "That kind of love deserves an answer," Patricia said finally. "Okay, I'll tell you what I know, but you have to promise me something first." "Anything?" Emma said. "Promise me that if this person wants to stay anonymous, truly wants it, you'll respect that. Promise me you won't go public, won't tell the media, won't make a big scene. Some people give quietly because they need to, not just because they want to. Promise me you'll protect them." Emma looked at Jamal, who nodded. Then she looked back at Patricia. "I promise. On my brother's life, I promise." Patricia pulled out her phone and scrolled through photos. "About 6 years ago, I was working the late shift, sorting mail at the center's mailbox. It was around 11 p.m. I was running behind that day. I saw a car pull up. Black SUV, tinted windows, expensive looking." Emma leaned forward, barely breathing. "A person got out. Very tall, had to be at least 6'5", maybe taller. They wore a hooded jacket, sunglasses even though it was dark, and a baseball cap pulled low. They moved like an athlete though. You know how athletes move. Smooth, confident, powerful." "Did you see their face?" Jamal asked. "No, they were careful about that. But I watched them walk to the mailbox. They looked around first, making sure nobody was watching. They didn't see me in my truck. They put an envelope in the slot, stood there for a moment with their hand on the mailbox like they were praying or something. Then they got back in the SUV and drove away." "Did you see the license plate?" Emma asked desperately. Patricia shook her head. "It was too dark, and honestly, I wasn't trying to be a detective back then. I just thought it was odd, someone mailing something that late at night. It wasn't until the next day when Mr. Thompson found the first donation envelope that I connected it." "Did you see them again?" Emma asked. "Twice more over the years, always late at night, always the same careful routine, always alone." Patricia pulled up a photo on her phone. The last time, about 2 years ago, I managed to take this picture from my truck. It's not great, but it's something. She showed them the image. It was grainy and dark, taken from far away. A tall figure stood by the community center mailbox, face hidden by the hood and cap. But Emma could see the outline, definitely very tall, definitely athletic build. And one more detail that made her heart skip. The person wore sneakers that even in the blurry photo looked expensive and distinctive. "Those are basketball shoes," Jamal whispered. "Limited edition ones too. I recognize the design." Patricia nodded. That's what made me certain this person was connected to basketball somehow. Those shoes, they cost around $300 and were only available to NBA players and certain celebrities when they came out. Emma stared at the photo, trying to see through the shadows. Somewhere under that hood was her hero, the person who saved Carlos, the person who saved her whole community. "Do you have any other clues?" Emma asked. "Anything at all?" Patricia thought for a moment. "One thing always struck me as odd. After they left, I'd walk over to the mailbox, just curious, you know, and there was always a smell lingering in the air." "A smell?" Jamal asked. "Cologne, expensive cologne, and sometimes," Patricia smiled slightly, "sometimes I'd find a single basketball in the parking lot like they'd been dribbling it while they walked, got focused on mailing the envelope and forgot they were holding it." Emma's mind raced. An athletic person, very tall, expensive basketball shoes, NBA connections, who traveled with the Bulls, who dribbled a basketball absent-mindedly while thinking about charity. The pieces were fitting together like a puzzle, but the picture still wasn't complete. "Ms. Holmes," Emma said carefully, "you saw my presentation. You know I've been investigating this. Do you think you know who it is?" Patricia was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I have a guess, but I won't tell you because a guess could send you in the wrong direction. What I will tell you is this: whoever it is, they love this community deeply. They've been watching over it like a guardian angel for years. And Emma," Patricia looked at her seriously, "they know about Carlos. They've been following his recovery. I'm sure of it." "How do you know?" Emma whispered. "Because the donations always increased when kids in the neighborhood had medical emergencies. Like someone was keeping track, making sure everyone got help." Patricia stood up. "My advice, keep investigating, but do it with kindness. Don't hunt this person. Invite them to reveal themselves. Make it safe for them to step forward." After Patricia left, Emma and Jamal sat in silence for several minutes. "She basically confirmed it's someone from the Bulls," Jamal said finally. "More than that," Emma said, pulling out her notebook. "We know they're very tall, athletic, rich enough to afford expensive shoes and donate thousands of dollars, and they care deeply about basketball in this community." "That still describes a lot of Bulls players, past and present," Jamal pointed out. Emma tapped her pencil against the notebook. "But how many of them would do this in secret? How many would literally hide their face and sneak around at night to stay anonymous?" Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Emma Rodriguez, this is Marcus Washington. Mr. Thompson gave me your number. I heard about your investigation. I think I can help. Can we meet today?" Emma showed Jamal the text. "Marcus knows something." "Or maybe," Jamal said slowly, "Marcus has been putting pieces together too. He's been around the center longer than us. He might know way more than we do." Emma texted back immediately, "Yes, where and when?" The response came quickly. "Center, 2 p.m. and Emma, bring an open mind. What I have to tell you is going to change everything." Emma looked at Jamal, her heart racing. 2 hours. We have 2 hours to prepare." "Prepare for what?" "For the truth," Emma said. "I think Marcus is about to tell us who our hero is." The 2 hours until Marcus arrived felt like 2 years. Emma and Jamal spent the time in the community center's small library, surrounded by books neither of them could focus on reading. "What if it's someone we'd never expect?" Jamal said, bouncing his knee nervously. "What if it's not even a player? What if it's like a team doctor or something?" Emma shook her head. "Patricia said they moved like an athlete. That means something. Athletes move differently than regular people. My PE teacher is always pointing it out." At exactly 2 p.m., Marcus walked through the library door. He looked different than he had at the coffee shop, more serious, more nervous. He carried a folder under his arm. "Thanks for meeting me," Marcus said, sitting down across from them. "I've been debating whether to tell anyone about this for 3 years, but after your presentation, Emma, I realized maybe it's time." Emma's hands gripped the edge of the table. "You know who the donor is?" "I think so, I'm pretty sure. But I need to tell you a story first, okay? You need to understand the whole picture." Marcus opened his folder and pulled out an old photograph. It showed a younger Marcus, maybe 12 years old, standing on the community center's basketball court next to a tall man whose face was turned away from the camera. "This was taken 7 years ago," Marcus said. "I was having the worst year of my life. My dad had just left. My mom was working 3 jobs and was never home. I was angry all the time, getting into fights at school, heading down a bad path. Coach Davis kept trying to help me, but I pushed everyone away." He touched the photo gently. "One night I was here alone, shooting baskets and crying. I thought nobody could see me. But this man," he pointed to the tall figure in the photo, "he was here, just sitting in the stands watching. When I finally noticed him, I got defensive, told him to leave me alone." "What did he say?" Emma asked softly. "He said I was you once, angry at the world, feeling like nobody cared, but someone saw me when I was invisible. They believed in me before I believed in myself. Let me be that person for you." Marcus's eyes filled with tears. "We talked for 3 hours that night, about basketball, about life, about how pain doesn't have to define us. He never told me his name. He just said, 'Call me coach,' and then he left." "Did you ever see him again?" Jamal asked. "Not in person, but weird things started happening. I'd find new basketball shoes in my locker at school, exactly my size, exactly the kind I needed. When I couldn't afford to go to basketball camp, a mysterious scholarship appeared. When my mom's car broke down and she couldn't get to work, someone paid for the repairs, anonymously." Marcus pulled out more items from his folder, receipts, thank you letters, newspaper clippings. "I started keeping track. Every time something miraculous happened to me or my family, I'd document it. And I noticed something. Look at these dates." He spread the papers across the table. Emma and Jamal leaned in, studying them. "These miracles, they always happened right after Bulls games," Marcus continued. "Home games, away games, didn't matter. Something good would happen to me within 24 hours of a Bulls game. And the bigger the game, playoffs, championship games, the bigger the miracle." Emma's heart pounded. "You think someone with the Bulls has been watching over you?" "Not just watching, protecting, investing." Marcus pulled out one more item, a letter, worn and creased from being read many times. "This came with my college scholarship. No signature, just these words." Emma took the letter carefully and read aloud. "Marcus, greatness isn't about being better than others. It's about being better than you were yesterday. Keep climbing, keep believing. And when you make it, because you will make it, remember to reach back and lift someone else up. That's the real championship." The handwriting was neat and careful, the same handwriting from the donation envelopes. "Oh my God," Emma whispered. "It's the same person." "There's more," Marcus said. 3 years ago, I did something probably stupid. I hired a private investigator, used my summer job money. I needed to know who was helping me. The investigator couldn't find much, but he did discover that all the donations, all the payments, they came from something called the Flight Foundation." "Flight Foundation," Jamal repeated. "Like flying or like basketball flights, Michael Jordan's flight." Marcus smiled slightly. "That's what I wondered too, so I researched it. The Flight Foundation is a private charity, very private. It's not listed in normal charity databases, but it exists. I found incorporation papers filed in North Carolina." "North Carolina," Emma said. "That's where." "That's where the University of North Carolina is," Marcus finished. "Where Michael Jordan went to college." The name hung in the air like electricity. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player who ever lived. Chicago Bulls legend, number 23. 6-time NBA champion, but Emma shook her head. "Michael Jordan is retired. He's been retired for years. He lives in Charlotte now, not Chicago. And he's super famous. Everyone would notice if he was sneaking around dropping off envelopes." "Would they?" Marcus asked quietly. "Think about it. When was the last time you saw a recent photo of Michael Jordan? real photos, not old game footage. He keeps a very low profile now. He could move around Chicago more easily than you'd think, especially late at night in disguise. Jamal pulled out his phone and started searching. Marcus, the postmark dates from the envelopes, they match Bulls away games. Michael Jordan hasn't played for the Bulls in over 15 years. But what if he still travels with them sometimes? Marcus suggested. As an advisor, as a friend to the organization, he still has connections to the Bulls, everyone knows that. Emma felt dizzy. Could it really be Michael Jordan? The Michael Jordan, the man whose poster was on her bedroom wall, whose highlights she watched on YouTube, whose name was synonymous with greatness. I need more proof, Emma said. I can't just assume it's Michael Jordan based on a foundation name and a gut feeling. Marcus nodded. I understand. That's why I'm going to tell you one more thing, the most important thing. He took a deep breath. 3 years ago, Carlos had his surgery. You remember that, Emma? Emma nodded, her throat tight. The night before the surgery, I was here at the center late volunteering. Your grandmother Rosa was here too. She was in the chapel room praying. She didn't know I could hear her, but I did. She was begging God to save Carlos. She said, I know we're just a poor family from the South Side. I know nobody important knows our name. But please, God, send us a miracle. Send us an angel. Tears rolled down Emma's cheeks. The next morning, Marcus continued, the hospital called your family. The surgery was paid for. I was there when your grandmother got that call, remember? She fell to her knees and thanked God. I remember, Emma whispered. That same day I came back to the center, and there was a man here tall watching some kids play basketball. He had his hood up, sunglasses on, but I recognized the way he stood. It was Coach, the man who talked to me years earlier. Emma's breath caught. What did he say? I walked up to him and I said, thank you for everything, for saving that little boy. And you know what he did? Marcus smiled through his tears. He turned to me and said, we save each other, Marcus. That's how it works. You're going to save somebody someday too. Pass it on. Did you see his face? Jamal asked urgently. Just for a second. He turned toward the light and his hood shifted. I couldn't be 100% certain, but Marcus pulled out his phone and showed them a photo of Michael Jordan from a recent charity event. I'm pretty sure it was him. Emma stared at the photo. Michael Jordan's face, older now with gray in his hair but still unmistakable. Those eyes, that slight smile, the confidence in his posture. Why would he do this? Emma asked. Why would someone that famous, that successful, that rich, sneak around helping people in secret? That's exactly why I think it's him, Marcus said. Think about Michael Jordan's whole career. Everyone knows about his championships, his commercials, his fame. But the man himself, he's always been private about his personal life. He gives to charity, but he doesn't make a big show of it. He believes in doing, not talking. Rosa appeared in the library doorway, surprising everyone. She'd been so quiet they hadn't noticed her arrival. Marcus is right, Rosa said softly, walking into the room. I've been listening from the hall. I'm sorry for eavesdropping, but I needed to hear this. Abuela, Emma started, but Rosa held up a hand. Let me tell you something I've never told anyone, Rosa said, sitting down. The night I prayed in the chapel, I wasn't alone. I felt a presence. Someone else was there in the shadows. I was too distraught to investigate, too deep in prayer. But when I left, I found this on the pew. She pulled something from her purse, a small, worn business card. It was simple, with just a phone number and 3 words, "You are seen." I tried calling the number, Rosa continued. It's disconnected now. But the next day, Carlos's surgery was paid for. And Emma, she looked at her granddaughter, I believe with all my heart that God sent us an angel that night. Maybe his name is Michael Jordan. Maybe it's someone else. But whoever he is, he saw us when we were invisible. Emma took the card, running her fingers over the embossed words. You are seen. 3 simple words that meant everything. I need to talk to Dr. Kim, Emma said suddenly, standing up. The doctor at Children's Hospital who helped with Carlos's surgery. If someone paid that bill, there has to be a record, a name, a foundation, something. Emma, it's Saturday, Jamal pointed out. Dr. Kim works weekends. She told me when I was researching my project. She's always there. Emma grabbed her backpack. Marcus, will you come with me? And Abuela? Rosa nodded. Of course, Mija, let's go find your angel. At Chicago Children's Hospital, the walls were painted with cheerful murals of animals and superheroes. Emma had spent so many terrifying hours here 3 years ago, watching Carlos struggle, praying he'd survive. Now she walked these same halls with a different purpose. Dr. Sarah Kim was in her office, reviewing patient files. When Emma knocked, the doctor looked up with surprise and then a warm smile. Emma Rodriguez, I was hoping I'd hear from you again after your wonderful presentation. Dr. Kim, I need to ask you about Carlos's surgery payment. The anonymous donor, do you know who it was? Dr. Kim's smile faded slightly. She glanced at Rosa, then back to Emma. Emma, I made a promise to protect that donor's privacy. Please, Emma said, and her voice cracked. I'm not trying to expose them. I just want to thank them. They saved my brother's life. Don't they deserve to hear that? Dr. Kim studied Emma's face for a long moment. Then she sighed and pulled out a file from her locked drawer. I shouldn't be showing you this, she said, but I've watched you grow up here, Emma. I've seen how much you love your brother. And honestly, she opened the file, I think it's time someone connected these dots. Inside were payment records for Carlos's surgery. The donor was listed as the Flight Foundation. Flight Foundation, Emma breathed, it's real. Very real, Dr. Kim said, and very generous. Over the past 10 years, this foundation has quietly paid medical bills for over 200 families in Chicago, always children, always families who couldn't afford life-saving treatment, always anonymous. 200 families, Marcus whispered. Dr. Kim nodded. But here's the interesting part. The foundation always asks me specifically about certain cases involving children from the South Side. Children connected to community centers and basketball programs. The foundation asks you, Emma said, you've talked to them. To a representative, yes. He calls me every few months, asks about kids who need help, makes sure they're getting the best care. He never gives his real name, just says to call him Coach. Marcus gasped, Coach, that's what he told me to call him too. Dr. Kim looked at Marcus with understanding. You've met him, haven't you? Once 7 years ago, but it changed my life. That seems to be his specialty, Dr. Kim said gently. She pulled one more item from the file, a sealed envelope. The foundation representative gave me this 3 years ago. He said to keep it until the time was right. He said I'd know when that was. Dr. Kim handed the envelope to Emma. I think the time is right now. Emma's hands shook as she opened it. Inside was a single piece of paper with a typed message. To the family of Carlos Rodriguez, your son is a fighter. He has a warrior's heart. I know this because I've been watching, not to invade your privacy, but to honor your strength. Every family deserves a champion in their corner. Consider me yours. When Carlos is well enough, bring him to the basketball court where it all started. Saturday, 3 p.m. I'll be waiting. It's time we met. Coach. At the bottom was a date, next Saturday, 1 week away. Emma looked up at Dr. Kim with wide eyes. This letter, when was it given to you? 3 days ago, Doctor. Kim said, right after your school presentation went viral online. He saw my presentation, Emma whispered. He knows I've been looking for him. And now, Rosa said, squeezing Emma's shoulder, he's ready to be found. Emma clutched the letter to her chest. 1 week. In 1 week, she would finally meet the person who saved Carlos, the person who saved their whole community, the person who might just be Michael Jordan himself. We have 7 days to prepare, Emma said, looking at Marcus, Jamal, and her grandmother. 7 days to figure out what you say to an angel when you finally get to meet them face to face. Marcus smiled. You say thank you, that's all any angel really wants to hear. The week crawled by like a snail crossing an endless desert. Emma couldn't focus on anything. In school, Mrs. Patterson asked her 3 times to pay attention during math. At dinner, Sophia had to remind Emma to actually eat her food instead of just pushing it around her plate. Even basketball practice, Emma's favorite activity in the world, felt like a blur. You're in your head too much, Coach Davis told her after she missed 5 shots in a row. Basketball is about being present. What's going on, Emma? Emma wanted to tell him. She wanted to tell everyone. But she made a promise to protect the donor's privacy and she wouldn't break it, not even when the secret felt like it might burst out of her chest. Every night, Emma sat at her desk and practiced what she would say. She wrote speeches, crossed them out, wrote new ones. Nothing felt right. How do you thank someone for saving your brother's life? What words could possibly be enough? Emma, you're going to wear a hole in that paper, Carlos said from his bed on Wednesday night. He was building a Lego spaceship, his small hands working with careful concentration. The surgery scars on his chest were hidden under his Spider-Man pajamas, but Emma knew they were there. She'd never forget the day she almost lost him. I just want to get it right, Emma said, crumpling up another failed speech attempt. Get what right? Emma hesitated. She hadn't told Carlos about Saturday's meeting. He was only 7, would he even understand? But looking at her brother now, healthy and happy and alive, she knew he deserved to know. Carlos, come here. I need to tell you something. Carlos climbed onto the chair next to Emma's desk, his legs swinging. Am I in trouble? No, silly, the opposite. Emma took a deep breath. Remember when you had your big surgery 3 years ago, when you were really sick? Carlos nodded seriously. I remember, it hurt a lot, but then the doctors fixed me. The doctors fixed you, but someone else helped too. Someone we never met paid for your surgery. We didn't have enough money, but this person, this really special person, gave us the money so you could get better. Carlos's eyes went wide, like Santa Claus. Emma smiled, kind of like Santa Claus, but real, and on Saturday we're going to meet them. They want to meet us. Really? Carlos bounced in his chair. Do I have to say thank you? We both do, that's why I'm practicing. Carlos thought about this seriously. Then he said, Emma, when someone saves your life, I don't think you need fancy words. You just need to tell them you're happy to be alive. Emma stared at her little brother, 7 years old, and somehow he understood what she'd been missing all week. It wasn't about the perfect speech or the right words. It was about the feeling, the gratitude, the love. She pulled Carlos into a hug. When did you get so smart? I was always smart, Carlos said matter-of-factly. You just never asked me before. On Thursday, Jamal came over after school. They sat in Emma's room with the door open, spreading out all their evidence like detectives in a movie. Okay, so we know it's probably Michael Jordan, Jamal said, reviewing their notes. The flight foundation, the North Carolina connection, the timing, the height, the basketball obsession, Marcus's testimony. It all points to him. But we don't know for sure, Emma said. What if we're wrong? What if it's someone completely different? Does it matter? Jamal asked. I mean, yeah, Michael Jordan would be incredible, but even if it's not him, even if it's some other Bulls player or coach or whoever, they still did an amazing thing. They're still a hero. Emma nodded slowly. You're right. I've been so focused on solving the mystery that I forgot what really matters. It's not about who they are, it's about what they did. And what you're going to do, Jamal added. Emma, you're going to make someone feel appreciated who's probably never felt properly thanked for all this. That's huge. That night at dinner, Sophia announced she was taking Saturday off work, the first Saturday off she'd had in 6 months. I want to be there when you meet this person, Sophia said. They saved my son. I need to look them in the eye and thank them myself. Mama, you didn't have to, Emma started. Yes, I did. Sophia's voice was firm but gentle. Emma, you've been carrying this investigation on your shoulders for weeks. You've been so determined to find this person and thank them. But Carlos is my son too. This is my thank you to give as well. Rosa reached across the table and squeezed Sophia's hand. 3 generations of Rodriguez women, all bound together by the same gratitude, the same love, the same miracle. We'll go together, Rosa said, as a family. On Friday morning, Emma woke up to find a text from Marcus. Emma, I've been thinking about Saturday. I'd like to come too, if that's okay. This person changed my life just like they changed yours. I think we should face our hero together. Emma texted back immediately, yes, we're all in this together. At school, Emma could barely sit still. Mrs. Patterson pulled her aside after class. Emma, I can tell something big is happening with you, the teacher said kindly. Your presentation about anonymous heroes really moved a lot of people, including me. Whatever journey you're on, I hope you find what you're looking for. I will, Emma said. Tomorrow I find it tomorrow. Mrs. Patterson smiled. Then I'll be thinking of you. That afternoon, Emma went to the community center alone. She wanted to see the basketball court, the place where everything would happen tomorrow, the place where her life might change forever. The court was empty and quiet. Sunlight streamed through the high windows, making patterns on the polished floor. Emma walked to center court and stood there, turning in a slow circle. This court had seen so much. Kids learning to dribble for the first time, teenagers perfecting their jump shots, families gathering for community events, Carlos taking his first steps after surgery right here, right on this spot. And tomorrow it would see something else, a meeting between a family and their guardian angel. Emma pulled out the letter Dr. Kim had given her and read it again. Saturday, 3 p.m. I'll be waiting. I'll be there too, Emma whispered to the empty gym. And I'm going to make sure you know how much you matter. She heard footsteps and turned to see Mr. Thompson walking toward her. I thought I might find you here, he said, sitting down on the bleachers. Big day tomorrow. The biggest, Emma agreed, joining him. Emma, I want you to know something. When you started this investigation, I was worried. I thought maybe you'd scare the donor away or create problems or get disappointed. But instead, Mr. Thompson gestured around the gym, you did something beautiful. You reminded all of us what gratitude looks like. You showed us that saying thank you matters. Do you think they'll actually come tomorrow? Emma asked quietly. What if they change their mind? They'll come, Mr. Thompson said with certainty. Someone who's been watching over this community for 5 years, who saved lives and changed futures. That person wants to be thanked just as much as you want to thank them. They're just as nervous as you are right now. Emma hadn't thought about that. Was Michael Jordan, or whoever it was, nervous too? Did heroes get butterflies in their stomachs? What if I cry? Emma asked. What if I get there and just start bawling and can't say anything? Mr. Thompson laughed gently. Then you cry. There's no shame in tears of gratitude, Emma. Some feelings are too big for just words. That evening, the entire Rodriguez family gathered in the living room. Even Tia Carmen and Uncle Miguel came over, bringing homemade tamales. Word had spread through the extended family about tomorrow's meeting. So you're really meeting the mystery donor? Tia Carmen asked, ladling more salsa onto Emma's plate. And you think it might be Michael Jordan himself? We don't know for sure, Emma said, but whoever it is, they're special. All this time, Uncle Miguel mused, someone was watching over our family, taking care of us, making sure Carlos got the help he needed. It's like having a guardian angel. Carlos, sitting on the floor with his Legos, looked up. Emma says I get to meet them tomorrow too. You do, Sophia confirmed, ruffling his hair. You're the reason we're all going. They saved you, Mijo. I don't really remember being sick, Carlos admitted. I remember the hospital was scary and the medicine tasted yucky, but I don't remember almost dying. The room went quiet. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. You don't need to remember, Rosa said softly. We remember for you, and tomorrow we get to thank the person who made sure we have many, many more memories to make with you. After dinner, Emma helped wash dishes with her mother. They worked in comfortable silence for a while, soap bubbles floating between them. Emma, Sophia said finally, I need to tell you something. When Carlos was sick, I made a promise to God. I said if he saved my son, I would spend the rest of my life helping others. I thought that meant working as a nurse, taking care of patients, and I do that. But watching you these past few weeks, she turned to face Emma, I realize you inherited that promise. You help people by caring so deeply, by refusing to let kindness go unnoticed. I just wanted to say thank you, Emma said. I know, and that's exactly what makes you special. Sophia hugged her daughter tight. Tomorrow you speak for all of us. You tell this person what their gift meant, but remember, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be honest. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, listening to Carlos's steady breathing from across the room. At 11 p.m., she gave up trying and pulled out her journal. She didn't write a speech this time. Instead, she wrote a letter, not to practice, but just to express everything in her heart. Dear Coach, or whoever you are, tomorrow I finally get to meet you. I've been preparing for this moment for weeks, trying to figure out the perfect thing to say. But I realize now there's no perfect thing. There are just true things. So here's the truth. You saved my brother. Carlos is 7 years old. He loves Spider-Man and building Legos and making terrible jokes that I pretend not to laugh at. 3 years ago, I almost lost him forever. I sat in a hospital waiting room holding my grandmother's hand, praying harder than I've ever prayed for anything. And you answered that prayer. I don't know if you're Michael Jordan or someone else. I don't know if you're a basketball player or a coach or just someone who loves the game, but I know you're a hero, not because you're famous or talented or rich, but because you saw people who were invisible and you made us matter. That's what heroes do. They notice, they care, they act. And they don't need credit because the action itself is enough. But here's what I need you to know. Your action created ripples. Marcus is in college now, studying to be an engineer. He volunteers with kids every week, passing on what you gave him. The community center is thriving, helping hundreds of families. Carlos is healthy and happy and alive. And me? I learned that greatness isn't about trophies or fame. It's about lifting others up when nobody's watching. You taught me that without ever saying a word. So tomorrow I'm going to hug you if you let me. I'm going to probably cry. I'm going to say thank you 100 times because twice won't be enough. And I'm going to promise you something, I'll pass it on. Someday I'll be someone else's guardian angel, because that's what you taught me to be. Thank you for seeing us. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being exactly who you are. Love, Emma. She closed the journal and wiped her eyes. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. everything would change. The mystery would be solved. The hero would have a face. But more importantly, a debt of gratitude that had been 5 years in the making would finally be paid. Emma looked over at Carlos, sleeping peacefully, his chest rising and falling, alive. Tomorrow, she whispered, we're going to meet the person who made sure you kept breathing. And I promise I'll make them understand what they gave us, everything. Saturday morning dawned bright and clear. Emma woke at 6 a.m., too nervous to sleep any longer. She showered, changed her clothes 3 times, and finally settled on her favorite basketball jersey, the one with number 23 on it, just in case. By noon, she was a nervous wreck. Rosa made her eat lunch, but Emma barely tasted the food. Sophia kept checking the time. Carlos asked every 5 minutes if it was time to go yet. At 2 p.m., they all piled into Uncle Miguel's car. Marcus met them at the community center at 2:30. Mr. Thompson and Coach Davis were already there, having cleaned and prepared the basketball court. It looks perfect, Emma said, walking onto the court. The nets were new, the floor gleamed. Someone had even put out folding chairs in case people needed to sit. Only the best for today, Mr. Thompson said. At 2:45, Jamal arrived with his parents. At 2:50, Patricia Holmes, the retired postal worker, showed up. At 2:55, Dr. Kim walked in. I wouldn't miss this, Dr. Kim said, hugging Emma. This is my thank you too. Everyone gathered around the basketball court, forming a semicircle. Emma stood at center court with Carlos, holding her little brother's hand. Her heart pounded so hard she thought everyone could probably hear it. 2:58 p.m., 2:59 p.m., 3:00 p.m. The gym doors opened. Emma's breath caught in her throat. A tall figure stood silhouetted in the doorway, backlit by the afternoon sun. As he stepped inside and the door closed behind him, Emma's eyes adjusted and she saw him clearly. It was him, it was really him. Michael Jordan walked toward them and Emma's entire world shifted on its axis. For a moment, nobody moved, nobody breathed. The entire gym seemed frozen in time. Michael Jordan stood just inside the doorway, wearing simple jeans, a plain white t-shirt, and a Bulls cap worn low. Even dressed casually, there was no mistaking him. He was taller than Emma had imagined, at least 6'6", and he moved with that unmistakable athlete's grace Patricia had described. But what struck Emma most were his eyes. They were kind, nervous, even. The greatest basketball player in history looked nervous. Emma's hand tightened around Carlos's. Her little brother whispered, "Emma, is that?" "Yes," Emma breathed, "that's him." Michael took a few steps forward, then stopped, as if unsure whether to come closer. He looked around at all the faces staring at him, Rosa with tears already streaming down her cheeks, Sophia with her hand over her mouth, Marcus standing rigid with emotion, Mr. Thompson smiling with understanding. Finally, Michael's eyes landed on Emma and Carlos at center court. "Hi," he said simply. His voice was deeper than Emma expected, but gentle. "I'm guessing you're Emma." Emma couldn't speak. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. All those speeches she'd practiced, all those perfect phrases she'd written, gone, completely gone. Carlos, however, had no such problem. "You're Michael Jordan," he shouted, his voice echoing through the gym. "You're the best basketball player in the whole world." Michael smiled, that famous smile Emma had seen in 1,000 photos, and walked closer. He knelt down on the court so he was at Carlos's eye level. "Nice to meet you, Carlos," he said. "And actually, I used to be a pretty good basketball player, but you know what I'm most proud of? Making sure kids like you get to grow up healthy and strong." Carlos stared at him with wide eyes. "You're the one who saved me. You paid for my surgery." "I helped," Michael said quietly. "But you did the hard part. You fought. You survived. You're the real champion here." "But why?" Carlos asked, tilting his head. "You don't even know me." Michael was quiet for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was thick with emotion. "When I was younger, someone I loved very much got sick, really sick, and we couldn't afford the treatment they needed. I was just a kid like you. I couldn't do anything to help. I had to watch them suffer because we didn't have enough money." He paused, and Emma saw pain flash across his face. An old pain, a deep pain. "They didn't make it," Michael continued softly. "And I promised myself that if I ever made it big, if I ever had the money and the ability to help, I would never let another family go through what mine went through. I would never let another kid die because of money." Tears rolled down Emma's cheeks. She finally found her voice. "So you've been helping families all this time because of someone you lost?" Michael looked up at Emma and nodded. "For 25 years, yeah. This center was one of the first places I visited when I came to Chicago to play for the Bulls. I was 21 years old, just a rookie, and Coach Doug Collins brought me here to meet kids from the community. I saw myself in those kids, hungry for a chance, hungry to prove they mattered. I promised myself I'd come back and help when I could." "But why secretly?" Emma asked. "Why hide it? You could have gotten so much credit, so much recognition." Michael stood up slowly, and for the first time, Emma saw something like vulnerability in his expression. "Can I be honest with you, Emma?" "Please." "When you're Michael Jordan, everything becomes about Michael Jordan. Every donation is a publicity stunt. Every good deed is a brand opportunity. Every act of kindness is questioned. What's he really getting out of this? What's his angle?" Michael shook his head. "I didn't want that. I wanted to help people the way someone should have helped my family, purely, simply, without expectations or conditions." He looked around at the community center, at the basketball court, at all the faces watching him. "I wanted to give the way I wish someone had given to us," he said quietly. "Not for credit, not for thanks, just because it was the right thing to do." Rosa stepped forward, wiping her eyes. "Mr. Jordan, I'm Emma and Carlos's grandmother. 3 years ago, I prayed for a miracle. I didn't know miracles looked like people. Thank you for being our miracle." Michael walked over to Rosa and took her hands gently. "Mrs. Rodriguez, you don't have to thank me. Your family's strength, your faith, your love for each other, that's the real miracle. I just helped remove an obstacle." "An obstacle called $40,000, Sophia said, stepping forward. She was crying openly now. "An obstacle that would have killed my son. Mr. Jordan, I'm Carlos's mother. I work as a nurse. I spend my life trying to save people, but I couldn't save my own child. You did that. You gave me my son's life. How do I possibly thank you for that?" Michael's own eyes were glistening now. "You don't, you just," his voice cracked, "you just love him. You raise him to be a good man. You teach him to help others. That's how you thank me." Marcus stepped forward next. "Coach." Michael turned and recognition flooded his face. "Marcus Washington, look at you, all grown up and in college. Engineering, right?" Marcus's jaw dropped. "You remember me?" "Of course I remember you. I remember all of you." Michael gestured around the gym. "Every kid I've helped, every family I've supported, I remember. I've been watching from a distance, making sure you all succeed. Marcus, you were so angry when I first met you, so hurt, but I saw the fighter in you. I saw the potential." "You changed my life," Marcus said, his voice shaking. "You gave me hope when I had none. You taught me that someone cared. And now," Marcus pulled out his wallet and showed Michael a worn photo. "I carry this everywhere. It's a picture of my little sister. She starts at this community center next month, and I'm going to watch over her the way you watched over me." Michael smiled, genuine pride in his eyes. That's the championship, Marcus. That's the real win, not the trophies, not the fame. Lifting someone else up so they can lift up someone else. That's how we change the world. Emma finally stepped forward, Carlos still holding her hand. She looked up at Michael Jordan, her hero, her brother's savior, her community's guardian angel. And suddenly all the words she'd practiced seemed small and insufficient. But she remembered what Carlos had said. You just need to tell them you're happy to be alive. Mr. Jordan, Emma said, her voice steady despite her tears, I've been looking for you for weeks. I've interviewed people, investigated clues, followed every lead. I wanted to find you so badly because I needed you to know something. Michael nodded, I'm listening. You didn't just save Carlos, you saved me too. You saved my mom and my grandmother. You saved our whole family. Because if Carlos had died, Emma's voice broke, but she forced herself to continue, we would have died too. Maybe not physically, but inside. The grief would have destroyed us. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the letter she'd written the night before. I wrote you a letter. It says everything I feel. But the most important part is this. You taught me what real greatness looks like. It's not about being famous. It's not about winning championships. It's about seeing people who are invisible and making them matter. That's what you did for us. You saw us. You made us matter. Michael took the letter with trembling hands. Can I read it later, when I'm alone? Of course. Michael knelt down again, this time in front of both Emma and Carlos. I need to tell you both something. When Dr. Kim told me about Carlos's case 3 years ago, about a 7-year-old boy who needed surgery to survive, I was in Charlotte. I'd been retired for years, living quietly, trying to stay out of the spotlight. But when I heard about your family, he looked at Emma, about a grandmother praying in a chapel, about a mother working 3 jobs, about a big sister who loved her little brother so much she'd do anything to save him, I knew I had to help. How did you know about us? Emma asked. Dr. Kim and I have worked together for years. She identifies families who need help and my foundation provides it, but your family was special. I saw myself in you, Emma, the fierce protector, the fighter, the one who refuses to give up. He smiled. I flew back to Chicago that night. I visited the chapel where your grandmother prayed. I stood there and I thought about my own family, about the person we lost, about all the families who face this nightmare every day. And then you paid for the surgery, Sophia said softly. And then I paid for the surgery, Michael confirmed. But I also did something else. I asked Dr. Kim to keep me updated on Carlos's recovery. Every month for 3 years, she sent me reports. I've watched him grow stronger. I've seen him return to this community center. I've watched him learn to play basketball. Carlos's eyes went huge. You've been watching me play basketball. A few times, Michael admitted with a grin. From a distance, you've got pretty good form for a 7-year-old. Keep practicing. Mr. Jordan, Mr. Thompson said, stepping forward, you've been supporting this center for 5 years. 6 donations of $50,000 each, $300,000 total. But it's not just about the money, is it? Michael shook his head. Money is the easy part. I have more money than I could ever spend. The hard part is figuring out where to put it so it does the most good. This center, he gestured around, this place is special. It's not just a gym. It's a sanctuary. It's where kids come to be safe, to be seen, to be valued. Every dollar I put into this place creates ripples I can't even measure. We found those ripples, Emma said. Marcus, the scholarship kids, the families with medical bills, all the programs that stayed open because of you. We traced them all. Michael looked impressed. You're a good detective, Emma, better than I expected. I thought I'd covered my tracks pretty well. The basketball stamps gave you away, Jamal called out from where he stood with his parents, and the postmarks matching Bulls away games. Michael laughed, a real laugh that filled the whole gym. I should have been more careful, but honestly, part of me wanted to be found. Part of me was tired of hiding. Why reveal yourself now? Emma asked. Why today? Michael's expression grew serious. Because I watched your presentation online, Emma. I saw you talk about anonymous heroes. I saw how much you care about thanking people who help without recognition. And I realized something. By staying hidden, I was denying you something important. I was denying you the chance to close the loop, to express your gratitude, to feel complete. That wasn't fair to you." He looked around at everyone gathered. "All of you deserve to know. You deserve to have someone to thank. And maybe," his voice got quieter, "maybe I needed to be thanked. Maybe after 25 years of giving in secret, I needed to hear that it mattered, that I mattered." Rosa walked over and put her hand on Michael's shoulder. "You matter more than you know, Hijo. You're not just a basketball legend. You're a human being who chose compassion over fame. That's real greatness." The gym was silent except for the sound of people crying. Dr. Kim, Patricia Holmes, Coach Davis, Jamal's parents, Mr. Thompson, everyone was crying. Even Michael's eyes were wet. "I have something to show you all," Michael said, pulling out his phone. "Something I've never shown anyone." He pulled up a photo album and turned the screen so Emma could see. There were hundreds of photos, pictures of kids at community centers, families receiving help, graduation ceremonies, weddings, birthday parties. "These are the people my foundation has helped over the years," Michael explained. "I keep every photo, every success story, every life changed. This isn't just charity to me. These are my people, my family." He scrolled to a section labeled Rodriguez Family, and Emma gasped. There were photos of Carlos from the hospital, from his recovery, from his first day back at the community center. Photos of Emma playing basketball, photos of Sophia at work, photos of Rosa at church. "You really have been watching us," Emma whispered. "Watching over you," Michael corrected gently. "There's a difference. I wasn't spying. I was making sure you were okay, making sure Carlos stayed healthy, making sure your family had what you needed." Carlos tugged on Michael's shirt. "Mr. Jordan, can I ask you something?" "Anything, little man." "When I grow up, can I help people like you do?" Michael knelt down one more time and looked Carlos in the eyes. "Carlos, you don't have to wait until you grow up. You can start helping people right now. Share your toys, be kind to kids who are sad, stand up for people who need a friend. That's how you change the world, one small act of kindness at a time." "I can do that," Carlos said seriously. "I'm gonna be just like you." Michael smiled but then shook his head. "No, Carlos, be better than me. I spent the first part of my life chasing championships and fame. Those things are nice, but they're not what matters. You've got a chance to spend your whole life being kind, being generous, being present. Don't waste time like I did. Start now." Emma felt something shift inside her. This was what she'd been searching for, not just answers but wisdom. Not just a celebrity but a real person with real flaws and real growth. Michael Jordan wasn't perfect. He was just someone who'd learned what mattered and decided to live accordingly. "Mr. Jordan," Emma said, "can I hug you?" Michael's face softened. "I was hoping you'd ask." Emma walked into his arms, and Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player who ever lived, the man who'd saved her brother, the guardian angel who'd watched over her family, hugged her tight. Emma felt 5 years of gratitude, fear, hope, and love pour out in that embrace. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for seeing us. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being you." "No," Michael whispered back. "Thank you for reminding me why I do this. Thank you for finding me. Thank you for giving me the chance to be thanked." When they pulled apart, Sophia stepped forward. "Mr. Jordan, can I?" "Please," Michael said, opening his arms again. Sophia fell into them, sobbing. "You gave me my son. You gave me my baby. How do I live with that much gratitude?" "You pass it on," Michael said simply. "You teach Carlos to be kind. You teach Emma to be brave. You show them that love is the only thing that really matters. That's how you thank me." One by one, everyone in the gym came forward. Rosa hugged him and blessed him in Spanish. Marcus shook his hand and promised to make him proud. Mr. Thompson thanked him for believing in the center. Coach Davis thanked him for supporting the kids. Dr. Kim thanked him for trusting her to help families. Patricia thanked him for letting her be part of the secret. Even Jamal, starstruck and nervous, managed to say, "Thank you for teaching us what real heroes look like." Finally, when everyone had expressed their gratitude, Michael stood at center court and looked around at all the faces. "I need to tell you something," he said. "Something I've never told anyone." The gym went completely silent. "This center, this community, all of you, you saved me as much as I saved you." The words hung in the air like a basketball at the peak of its arc, suspended before falling. Emma watched Michael's face transform, the confident legend replaced by something more vulnerable, more human. "What do you mean?" Emma asked softly. Michael walked to the bleachers and sat down, gesturing for everyone to join him. They gathered around, some sitting, some standing, forming a circle like a team huddle. "After I retired from basketball the final time," Michael began, his voice quiet but clear, "I struggled. People don't talk about this much, but going from being the best at something, from having that purpose, that drive, that competition every single day, to suddenly having nothing. It's hard, really hard." He looked down at his hands, hands that had held 6 championship trophies, hands that had made impossible shots, hands that were now just hands. "I had everything money could buy, cars, houses, respect, fame, but I felt empty. I'd spent my whole life trying to be the greatest basketball player ever, and I'd done it. But then what? What do you do when you've reached the top of the mountain and there's nowhere left to climb?" Rosa nodded knowingly. "You climb down and help others climb up." Michael smiled at her. "Exactly, but it took me a while to figure that out. I was lost for a couple years after retirement. Didn't know who I was without basketball. Started businesses, tried to stay busy, but nothing filled the void. Then one day, about 6 years ago, I was driving through Chicago. I wasn't even supposed to be here, I was just passing through. And I drove past this community center." He pointed to the doors he'd walked through earlier. "I saw kids playing basketball through the window, and something made me stop. I parked and watched for an hour. Just watched kids playing, laughing, learning. And I remembered being that kid, young, hungry, desperate for a chance. I remembered how basketball saved my life, gave me purpose, gave me everything." Michael's voice grew thick. "That's when I realized I'd been given so much, more than any one person needs, and I'd lost someone I loved because we couldn't afford medical care. Those two facts existed in my life at the same time. How could I have so much while others had so little? How could I let another family go through what mine went through?" "So you started the Flight Foundation," Marcus said. "I started the Flight Foundation," Michael confirmed. "Named it after my college number and my nickname, Air Jordan, flying through the air. But it was also about giving people flight, giving them the ability to soar, to escape poverty and sickness and limitation." He pulled out his phone again and showed them a different photo album. Emma leaned in to see. The first photo showed Michael standing outside a community center in Charlotte. The second showed another center in Los Angeles, then Miami, then New York. The photos kept going, dozens of community centers all across the country. "This isn't the only place I help," Michael said. "There are 47 community centers in 15 cities, all quietly funded by my foundation. Some for 5 years like this one, some for 10 years, some for 15. Emma's jaw dropped. 47. 47 places where kids can be safe, where families can find help, where basketball teaches more than just how to shoot a ball. It teaches discipline, teamwork, perseverance, hope." Michael's eyes were bright. "Every single one of these centers was about to close when I found them. Every single one is still open today." Mr. Thompson let out a long breath. "That's incredible." "It's necessary," Michael corrected. "Emma, you asked why I do this secretly. Here's the other reason. If people knew Michael Jordan was funding these centers, they'd become about me. Media would show up. Politicians would want photo ops. Everything would become a spectacle. The kids and families would stop being the focus. It would become the Michael Jordan charity tour." He shook his head firmly. "I didn't want that. I wanted these places to be about the community, not about me. I wanted kids to succeed because they worked hard, not because Michael Jordan helped them. I wanted the purity of it." "But you're telling us now," Sophia pointed out. "You're here revealing yourself. Why?" Michael looked at Emma. "Because of her. Because Emma's presentation reminded me that gratitude matters. Connection matters. I've been so focused on giving without recognition that I forgot something important. Relationships are a two-way street. By hiding, I was denying these communities the chance to truly connect with me, and I was denying myself the chance to truly know them." He stood up and walked back to center court. "I have a team of people who help me, Dr. Kim, Patricia, people you've met and people you haven't. They identify needs, process donations, follow up on cases. But I realized I've been experiencing all of this through reports and photos. I've been watching from the shadows instead of truly engaging. So what changes now? Emma asked. Michael turned to face her. Everything. I'm not going to hide anymore, not completely. I'm going to start visiting these centers openly, meeting the families, connecting with the kids, still supporting quietly. I won't turn this into a media circus, but being present, being real, being available. Because of me? Emma asked, her voice small. Because of you, Michael confirmed. You're 10 years old and you taught me something I should have known all along. Hiding your gifts doesn't make them more pure, it just makes them lonely. I've been lonely, Emma. Doing good in secret is meaningful, but doing good in connection, that's transformative. Coach Davis stepped forward. Michael, can I ask you something? And I'm going to call you Michael because we're the same age and I've been coaching basketball as long as you played it. Michael grinned. Please. Why basketball? Why community centers? You could fund hospitals, universities, research centers. Why here? Because basketball saved me, Michael said simply. When I was a kid in North Carolina, basketball was my escape. My family didn't have much. My parents worked constantly. Basketball was the one place where I could be excellent, where I could control outcomes, where I could dream. Without basketball, I don't know who I would have become. Probably nobody special. He looked around the gym. These centers, they're not just about basketball. They're about giving kids a place to belong, a place to be seen, a place to matter. Sports teach you that effort equals results. That practice leads to improvement, that you're part of something bigger than yourself. Kids from struggling families, they need those lessons. They need to know they can succeed at something, anything. Marcus nodded vigorously. That's exactly what this place did for me. It taught me I mattered. And that's what I want to expand, Michael said, his voice gaining excitement. Emma, your investigation made me think. I've been helping 47 centers for years, but there are thousands of centers across America that need help. Thousands of families struggling with medical bills. Thousands of kids who just need someone to believe in them. He pulled out a folder from a bag Emma hadn't noticed him carrying. Inside were documents, spreadsheets, plans. I've been developing this for 3 months, ever since I first heard about your school project, Michael said, spreading the papers on the bleachers. It's called the Community Champions Initiative. Instead of me personally funding centers one at a time, I'm creating a model that other wealthy people can follow. A blueprint for anonymous giving, a network of support. Emma leaned over to look at the documents. They were detailed, step-by-step guides for identifying centers in need, vetting them, providing sustainable funding, measuring impact. The idea is to inspire other athletes, other celebrities, other wealthy individuals to adopt their own communities, Michael explained. Not for publicity, not for tax breaks, just because it's right. I'm going to use my platform, finally use it for something meaningful, to challenge other successful people to give back quietly and consistently. That's brilliant, Mr. Thompson said, studying the plans. You're not just giving fish, you're teaching others to fish. Exactly, and Emma, Michael turned to her, I want you to be part of it. Emma's eyes went wide. Me, I'm 10 years old, what can I do? You can tell your story. You can talk about what anonymous giving meant to your family. You can be the voice of the people who are helped, showing donors the real impact of their gifts, not for media, not for publicity, but for private events, for donor meetings, for inspiration. You want me to convince rich people to give money away? Emma asked skeptically. Michael laughed. I want you to show them what I'm showing you right now, that giving isn't about losing something. It's about gaining something, purpose, connection, meaning. The things money can't buy but generosity can create. Sophia stepped forward, protective. Mr. Jordan, my daughter has school. She has homework. She's 10 years old. I know, Michael said gently. I'm not asking her to work. I'm asking her to share her story a few times a year when she wants to, when it feels right. No pressure, no obligations, just, if she's willing, being a reminder of why this work matters. Emma looked at her mother, then at Carlos, then at her grandmother. Finally, she looked at Marcus, who nodded encouragingly. I'll do it, Emma said, but only if Carlos can come too. He's the real story. He's the one who survived. People should hear from him. Michael knelt down to Carlos's level again. What do you think, Carlos? Want to help me convince people to be heroes? Carlos thought about it seriously. Will I have to wear a tie? Not if you don't want to. Then okay, I'll do it. Michael laughed and held out his hand. Carlos shook it solemnly, and in that moment Emma saw something beautiful, her 7-year-old brother making a commitment to help others, just like Michael had done decades ago. There's something else, Michael said, standing up. Mr. Thompson, this center has been surviving year to year on donations. That ends today. I'm buying this building and donating it to the community. You'll own it outright. No rent, no mortgage, no threat of closure. Mr. Thompson's hand flew to his mouth. Michael, that's $250,000, Michael finished. And I'm also creating an endowment fund. $3 million invested, managed by a trust. The interest and dividends will fund operations forever. You'll never worry about money again. The entire gym erupted. People were crying, hugging, shouting. Rosa fell to her knees and prayed. Sophia grabbed Emma and squeezed her so tight Emma could barely breathe. Marcus pumped his fist in the air. Coach Davis wiped his eyes. Mr. Thompson sat down heavily on the bleachers, overwhelmed. Forever, Mr. Thompson finally managed. We're secure forever. Forever, Michael confirmed. This center saved me, remember. I'm just returning the favor. And I'm going to help you expand, add programs, hire more staff, serve more families. This place is going to become a model for what community centers can be. Emma felt like she was floating. This was bigger than she'd ever imagined. She'd started this investigation wanting to say thank you to one person for one act of kindness, but it had grown into something enormous, a network of hope spanning the entire country, a blueprint for giving, a movement of quiet heroes. Mr. Jordan, Emma said, and her voice carried across the gym, silencing everyone. Can I ask you one more question? Always. What happened to the person you loved, the one who got sick when you were young? You said they didn't make it. The gym went quiet again. Michael's expression shifted, pain mixed with old grief mixed with acceptance. My Uncle Roger, Michael said quietly. He was more like a father to me than my actual father for a while. He taught me basketball. He believed in me when I was nobody. He used to tell me, Michael, you're going to be something special. Not because of basketball, because of your heart. Michael's voice cracked. He got cancer when I was 17, treatable cancer, but we didn't have insurance, couldn't afford the treatments. He died 6 months later, right before my senior year of high school. I played the best basketball of my life that year, won the state championship, got recruited by North Carolina. But Uncle Roger never saw it. He died believing I was just a talented kid who'd probably never make it out of Wilmington. Tears rolled down Emma's cheeks. I'm so sorry. Me too, Michael said. Every day for 35 years I've been sorry. Sorry I couldn't save him. Sorry he never got to see what I became. Sorry that money, stupid, meaningless money, was the difference between life and death. That's why I do this. Every family I help, every surgery I fund, every kid I support, that's me saving Uncle Roger over and over again. It doesn't bring him back, but it means his death meant something. It means his story doesn't end with loss. It ends with thousands of lives saved. Rosa stood up and walked to Michael. She took his face in her weathered hands and said, Your Uncle Roger knows. Wherever he is, he knows what you've become. He knows you kept your heart special. He's proud of you, Hijo. Michael closed his eyes and tears leaked out. This man who'd won 6 NBA championships, who'd been on top of the world, who'd been fearless on the court. He cried in a small community center gym, held by a grandmother he just met. Thank you, he whispered. I needed to hear that. Emma understood something then. Michael Jordan had been just as lost as she'd been. He'd been searching for meaning just like she'd been searching for him. They'd found each other because they both believed in the same thing, that gratitude and kindness and connection were the most important things in the world. Mr. Jordan, Emma said, you said you've been watching us for years. You have photos of our family. You followed Carlos's recovery. Can I ask, why us specifically? I know you help lots of families. But why did you pay such close attention to us? Michael smiled. Because of you, Emma. When Dr. Kim told me about Carlos's case, she also told me about his big sister, a girl who spent every night in the hospital, who refused to leave his side, who read him stories and held his hand and promised him he'd get better. Dr. Kim said you were the bravest 10-year-old she'd ever met. I was 8 then, Emma corrected quietly. 8, Michael looked surprised. Even more impressive. Emma, I saw myself in you, the fierce protector, the one who refuses to give up on family. That's who I was for my Uncle Roger. I sat with him, talked to him, believed in him right up until the end. When I heard about you doing the same for Carlos, I knew your family was special. I knew you deserved help. He pulled out his phone one more time and showed Emma a photo she'd never seen before. Her, age 8, asleep in a hospital chair next to Carlos's bed, still holding his hand even in sleep. Dr. Kim took this photo and sent it to me, Michael said softly. This is the photo that made me say yes to funding the surgery, because I saw love, pure love, the kind of love that changes the world. Emma stared at the photo, barely remembering that night. She'd been so tired, so scared, so desperate, but she'd refused to leave Carlos alone. And somehow that decision had reached across the city to Michael Jordan, had touched his heart, had saved her brother's life. Love called to love, Rosa said softly. Your love for Carlos called to Michael's love for his uncle. That's how miracles work. They're not magic, they're love recognizing love. Michael nodded. I couldn't save Uncle Roger, but I could save Carlos. And in saving him, I saved a little piece of myself too. The piece that's been carrying guilt for 35 years, feeling like I should have done more, should have found a way. Every kid I help, that guilt gets lighter. Every family I support, I get closer to forgiving myself. There's nothing to forgive, Emma said firmly. You were 17, you couldn't have saved him. I know that in my head, Michael said, but my heart took longer to believe it. Helping all of you, it's teaching my heart what my head has known for years. I couldn't save Uncle Roger, but I can honor his memory by saving others. That's enough. It has to be enough. It's more than enough, Marcus said. It's everything. The gym was silent except for the sound of people crying softly. This wasn't what Emma had expected when she started her investigation. She thought she'd find a hero, someone perfect, someone who gave because giving was easy for them. Instead, she'd found a human being. Someone wounded, someone healing, someone using their pain to prevent pain in others. That was better than a hero. That was a real person making real choices. That was someone Emma could actually aspire to be. So what happens now? Jamal asked. What happens after today? Michael smiled. Now we work together, I stop hiding, you keep being amazing. This center becomes a beacon for the whole South Side. And Emma, he looked at her seriously, you keep investigating, keep finding stories, keep connecting people. You have a gift for seeing what matters, don't waste it. I won't, Emma promised. And Carlos, Michael turned to the little boy, you keep fighting, keep growing strong, keep being kind. You're going to do great things someday, I know it. How do you know? Carlos asked. Because I've watched you for 3 years, I've seen your heart. You're a champion, Carlos, not because of basketball, because of who you are. Carlos beamed, standing a little taller. Michael checked his watch. I need to leave soon, but before I go, I have one more surprise. He pulled a large envelope from his bag, similar to the ones that had started this whole mystery, but bigger. He handed it to Emma. This is for you. Don't open it until you get home tonight. Promise. Emma nodded, holding the envelope carefully. I promise. Michael stood at center court one final time, looking around at all the faces that had become familiar over 5 years of distant watching. Now they were real. Now they were his friends. Thank you, he said simply. Thank you for letting me help. Thank you for finding me. Thank you for reminding me that even heroes need to be thanked sometimes. You've given me something I didn't know I was missing, connection. Real, honest, human connection. That's worth more than any championship I ever won. Will we see you again? Carlos asked, his voice small and worried. Michael knelt down one last time and pulled Carlos into a hug. All the time, little man, all the time. I'm not hiding anymore, remember. I'll be back next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. You're stuck with me now. Carlos giggled and hugged him tight. Good, I like being stuck with you. As Michael stood to leave, Emma ran to him and threw her arms around his waist. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for everything, for Carlos, for our family, for showing me what real greatness looks like. Michael hugged her back. No, Emma, thank you for showing me what real greatness looks like. It's not about talent or fame or money. It's about a 10-year-old girl who loves her brother so much she'll search for a stranger just to say thank you. That's greatness. That's what I want to be when I grow up. Emma laughed through her tears. You're already grown up. Then maybe I need to grow up again. Grow up into the person you already are, someone who sees what matters and never gives up on it. With final hugs and promises to return soon, Michael Jordan walked out of the community center. But this time, he didn't sneak away in darkness. He walked out in full daylight, waving to kids playing basketball in the parking lot, stopping to sign autographs, being fully present. Emma watched him go, clutching the mysterious envelope. Her hero had a name now. Her angel had a face. And more importantly, her family had a friend. A real friend who would be there not just with money, but with presence, with care, with love. "Emma," Carlos said, tugging her shirt, "are you going to open the envelope?" "Not yet. I promised I'd wait until we got home." "I hate waiting." Emma laughed and hugged her brother, her alive, healthy, wonderful brother. "Me too, Carlos, me too." The ride home felt surreal. Emma sat in the backseat of Uncle Miguel's car with Carlos, the mysterious envelope clutched in her lap. Everyone was talking at once: Sophia, Rosa, Uncle Miguel, Tia, Carmen, all trying to process what had just happened. "Michael Jordan," Uncle Miguel kept saying, shaking his head. "Michael Jordan was in our community center. I shook his hand. This is the greatest day of my life." "He's just a person," Rosa said gently. "A very kind person, but still a person. That's what makes it beautiful. He could have stayed separate from us, above us, but he chose to be with us. That's the real miracle." Emma stared out the window, watching the south side streets pass by. These same streets had always been here: the bodegas, the murals, the basketball courts, the families sitting on porches. But now Emma saw them differently. She saw them the way Michael must see them, full of potential, full of worth, full of people who mattered. "Emma, you're quiet," Sophia said, turning to look at her daughter. "Are you okay?" "I'm thinking," Emma said, "about everything, about how this started with me just wanting to say thank you. And now," she gestured vaguely, "now it's become this huge thing. Community Champions Initiative, endowment funds, a network of 47 centers. How did a 10-year-old girl's investigation turn into all of this?" "Because kindness multiplies," Rosa said. "You planted a seed of gratitude. Michael watered it with his story. And now it's growing into something neither of you could have created alone. That's how God works, through connections, through people brave enough to care." When they got home, the entire family gathered in the living room. Word had spread through their extended family about the meeting, and suddenly there were 15 people crammed into their small apartment: aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors. Everyone wanted to hear the story. Emma told it from the beginning, finding the first envelope, investigating the mystery, interviewing Marcus and Patricia, meeting Dr. Kim, and finally coming face to face with Michael Jordan himself. Carlos kept interrupting with his own details, especially the part where Michael called him a champion. "And he's coming back next week," Carlos announced proudly. "He said he's not hiding anymore. He's going to visit all the time." "That's the part I still can't believe," Sophia said, wiping her eyes. "For 3 years, someone that famous, that important, has been watching over our son, making sure he stayed healthy, and we never knew." "He didn't want you to feel obligated," Emma explained. "He said the best gifts don't come with strings attached. He wanted to help because helping was the right thing to do, not because he wanted gratitude or recognition." "But everyone wants to be thanked sometimes," Tia Carmen pointed out. "Nobody's that selfless." "He didn't say he didn't want to be thanked," Emma corrected. "He said he wanted the giving to be pure. There's a difference. He did want to be thanked. He admitted that today. He just didn't want the thank you to be the reason for giving." Her uncle nodded slowly. "That's wisdom, real wisdom." After an hour of celebration and discussion, the crowd finally dispersed. It was nearly 8 p.m. when Emma finally had a quiet moment alone in her room. Carlos was in the bathtub, singing loudly. Sophia was making phone calls to relatives who hadn't been able to come over. Rosa was in the kitchen, cooking enough food to feed an army because that's what Rosa did when she was emotional. Emma sat on her bed and pulled out the envelope Michael had given her. It was heavy, substantial. Her name was written on the front in that same neat handwriting from all the donation envelopes: Emma Rodriguez. She opened it carefully and pulled out a thick stack of papers. The first page was a letter. Emma began to read. "Dear Emma, by the time you read this, we'll have met. You'll know my name, my face, my story. But there are some things I couldn't say in front of everyone, things that are just for you. First, I want you to know that your investigation was brilliant. You found clues I didn't even know I was leaving. The basketball stamps, the postmarks, the patterns. You connected dots that most adults would have missed. You have a natural talent for investigation, for seeing what others overlook. Don't lose that. But more importantly, you have something even rarer. You have a grateful heart. In a world where people take things for granted, where kindness is expected rather than appreciated, you refuse to let a good deed go unnoticed. That's special, Emma. That's the kind of person who changes the world. I've included several things in this envelope. A journal of every family my foundation has helped over the past 25 years. Every name, every story, every outcome. This is not for publication or publicity. This is for you to understand the ripple effects of kindness. Each entry connects to another. Marcus helped another kid, who helped another family, who started their own charity. It's an endless chain of good. A college scholarship fund in your name. Full tuition, room, and board to any university you choose. You don't need to decide now, you're only 10. But when the time comes, I want you to study whatever you're passionate about without worrying about money. Education is freedom. The same scholarship fund for Carlos and for any future children your mother might have. Your whole family will be taken care of. That's not charity, that's investment. I'm investing in the Rodriguez family because I believe you're going to do great things. A standing offer. Whenever you want to talk about anything, you can call me. My personal phone number is at the bottom of this letter. Most people don't have this number, but you're not most people. You're the girl who found me when I didn't think I wanted to be found. You're the girl who reminded me that connection matters. Emma, I told you today that you saved me as much as I saved you. I want to explain what I meant. After Uncle Roger died, I threw myself into basketball. It became my escape, my purpose, my everything. I was so focused on being the best that I forgot to be human. I won championships, earned millions, became famous, but I was lonely. Success without connection is just achievement, it's not fulfillment. When I retired, that loneliness hit me hard. I had everything and nothing at the same time. Starting the Flight Foundation helped, giving gave me purpose again. But I was still doing it from a distance, still hiding, still not letting people truly see me. Then you came along. A 10-year-old girl who refused to let my kindness be invisible. You investigated, you connected, you cared so deeply that you tracked me down. And in doing so, you showed me something I'd forgotten. Relationships matter more than anonymity. Connection matters more than perfection. Your presentation about anonymous heroes made me cry, Emma. I watched it alone in my house in Charlotte, and I cried because you understood something about giving that I'd lost sight of. Yes, we should give without needing recognition, but we should also allow ourselves to be thanked, to be loved, to be connected. Otherwise, we're just moving money around. We're not actually touching lives. You taught me that touching lives means being touched by them in return. So thank you. Thank you for finding me. Thank you for giving me permission to step out of the shadows. Thank you for showing me that I can be Michael Jordan the helper without hiding that I'm also Michael Jordan the human who needs community and connection. You asked me today what happens now. Here's my answer. We stay connected. I'm not going to be a distant benefactor anymore. I'm going to be present, at the center, at your family events, if you'll invite me, in your lives in a real way. I'm going to watch Carlos grow up. I'm going to see you become whoever you're meant to be. And I'm going to learn from your family the way you've learned from me, because that's what this was really about all along. Not charity, not even kindness, really. It was about family, choosing family, building family, being family to each other even when we're not related by blood. The Rodriguez family is my family now, and I hope I get to be part of yours. With gratitude and love, Michael Jordan. P.S. There's one more thing in this envelope. A basketball card from my rookie year, 1984. It's worth about $50,000 now, but I don't want you to sell it. I want you to keep it as a reminder. What seems like just a card, just a moment, just a small gesture, it can become priceless over time. That's what kindness is. It starts small, but it becomes priceless. P.P.S. Tell Carlos I expect him to practice his free throws. Champions don't take shortcuts. Emma read the letter 3 times, tears streaming down her face. Then she looked at the other items in the envelope. The journal was thick, hundreds of pages documenting 25 years of giving. Emma flipped through it carefully. Each entry included a name, a situation, an amount given, and most importantly, a follow-up. Michael hadn't just donated and moved on. He'd tracked every single person, every single outcome. She found Marcus Washington's entry. Marcus Washington, age 12, angry, grieving, at risk, intervention, mentorship conversation, equipment donations, camp scholarship. Follow-up, full academic scholarship to Northwestern University, graduated with honors, now mentoring youth in same community. Status, success. Note, Marcus represents the ideal outcome, someone helped who then helps others. The chain continues. Emma found her own family's entry. Rodriguez family, Carlos age 4, emergency surgery needed. Mother Sophia working 3 jobs. Sister Emma age 8, devoted caregiver. Grandmother Rosa, faith-driven matriarch. Intervention, $40,000 surgical payment, ongoing medical support, community center scholarship. Follow-up, Carlos thriving, healthy. Emma developing into natural leader and investigator. Family unit strong and grateful. Status, success. Note, Emma's gratitude and determination led to revelation of identity. This family changed my trajectory as much as I changed theirs. Remember, sometimes the people we help are actually helping us. There were hundreds more entries. Families who'd received medical help, kids who'd gotten scholarships, single mothers who'd received emergency rent payments, veterans who'd gotten job training. Every single entry ended with a follow-up showing Michael had stayed connected to each story. This wasn't charity. This was a life's work. This was love made visible. The scholarship documents were official, legal papers establishing trust funds for Emma, Carlos, and any future Rodriguez children. Emma did quick math in her head. Even at a cheap state school, this was probably worth $500,000. For all of them combined, maybe $1.5 million. Michael Jordan had just given her family $1.5 million in education funding. Emma felt dizzy. She'd started this investigation just wanting to say thank you. And somehow, the thank you had turned into a relationship, which had turned into even more generosity. The cycle never ended, kindness creating gratitude, creating more kindness, creating more gratitude. Finally, Emma pulled out the basketball card. It was in a protective case, pristine and perfect. Michael Jordan, age 21, Chicago Bulls uniform, pre-legend, pre-fame. Just a rookie with dreams. Emma stared at that young face and tried to imagine what he'd been thinking when this photo was taken. Had he known he'd become the greatest? Had he known he'd lose his Uncle Roger? Had he known he'd spend the next 40 years trying to save people he couldn't save then? Probably not. Nobody knows their own story while they're living it. Michael hadn't known he'd become a hero. Emma hadn't known she'd become an investigator. Carlos hadn't known he'd survive. None of them had known how their stories would tangle together into something beautiful. That was the real lesson here. You don't plan miracles. You just live honestly, love deeply, and trust that the connections will form themselves. Emma, Carlos appeared in the doorway, pajamas damp from bath time, hair sticking up in every direction. What's in the envelope? Emma smiled and gestured for him to come sit with her. Carlos climbed onto the bed and Emma showed him the basketball card. This is Michael Jordan when he was young, before he became famous, before he knew he'd be great. He was just a kid with dreams. Like me, Carlos said. Like you, Emma agreed. And he gave us this card to remind us that everyone starts somewhere. Champions aren't born champions. They become champions by practicing and trying and never giving up. Carlos touched the case gently. Are we going to be champions? I think we already are, Emma said. Not basketball champions, life champions. We survived something really hard. We stayed together as a family. We learned to be grateful. That's winning, Carlos. That's the real championship. Carlos leaned against Emma's shoulder. I'm glad we didn't die. Emma laughed and hugged him. Me too, buddy, me too. That night after Carlos fell asleep, Emma sat at her desk and opened her detective notebook one final time. She turned to a fresh page and wrote, Case closed. The basketball stamp mystery. Mystery solved. Michael Jordan has been our anonymous donor for 5 years, but here's what I learned. The mystery was never really about who, it was about why. And the why is simple: love. Love for someone he lost. Love for people who remind him of himself. Love is action, not just feeling. I started this investigation thinking I'd find a hero. Instead, I found a human. Someone wounded who chose to heal others. Someone lonely who chose to create connection. Someone successful who realized success without kindness is empty. Michael taught me that real greatness isn't about being the best. It's about making others better. It's not about winning championships. It's about helping others win at life. The investigation is over, but the relationship is just beginning. And maybe that's the whole point. Gratitude doesn't end a story. It starts a new one. Case closed. New chapter open. Emma Rodriguez, age 10 investigator, sister, friend, and now family to the greatest basketball player who ever lived. Emma closed the notebook and put it on her shelf next to the basketball card, Michael's letter, and a photo of Carlos from the hospital 3 years ago. These were her treasures now, reminders that kindness is real, heroes are human, and sometimes the best mysteries are the ones that turn strangers into family. Across the city, in a hotel room near the airport, Michael Jordan sat alone with his own journal. He'd kept one for 25 years, documenting every family he'd helped. Tonight, he wrote a new entry. Emma Rodriguez taught me that hiding isn't humble, it's lonely. That giving in secret is meaningful, but being known is necessary. That I can be both famous and real, both successful and vulnerable, both a legend and a friend. Tomorrow I fly back to Charlotte, but I'll return to Chicago next week and the week after and the week after that. I'm not hiding anymore. I'm not just helping from a distance. I'm showing up, being present, building real relationships. Uncle Roger died 35 years ago, and I've spent every year since trying to save him. Today, a 10-year-old girl showed me something I should have known all along. I can't save him, but I can honor him. I can live the way he would have wanted me to live, connected, present, generous, not just with money, but with myself. The Flight Foundation has helped thousands of people, but today, thousands of people helped me. They welcomed me. They thanked me. They loved me not as Michael Jordan the celebrity, but as Michael Jordan the human who cares. That's what I've been missing. That's what Emma gave me back. Note to self, call Emma next week. Check on Carlos's free throw practice. Send Rosa a donation for her church. She mentioned they need a new roof. Invite the Rodriguez family to Charlotte for a game. Not because I have to, because I want to, because they're family now. Status, success. Actually, no. Better word, blessed. Michael closed his journal and looked at his phone. He pulled up a photo from today, Emma hugging him at center court, both of them crying, both of them grateful. He made it his phone background. For 25 years, he'd given in secret, helped from shadows, stayed separate to stay pure, and it had been meaningful. But this connection, this relationship, this mutual love and gratitude, this was transformative. Emma was right. Heroes need to be thanked sometimes, not for ego, but for connection. For the reminder that we're all human together, all struggling together, all lifting each other up together. Michael smiled and turned off the light. Tomorrow he'd fly home, but next week he'd come back. He wasn't an anonymous donor anymore. He was family, and that was better than any championship he'd ever won. 1 year later, Emma Rodriguez stood in front of her bathroom mirror, adjusting her collar for the 3rd time. She was 11 now, taller, more confident, but still nervous about today's presentation. Behind her, Carlos brushed his teeth, getting toothpaste all over his Spider-Man shirt. "Carlos, you're going to have to change," Emma said, laughing. "No time," Carlos said, spitting into the sink. "Michael said we need to be there by 9 and it's already 8:30. Emma smiled at how naturally Carlos said Michael now. Not Mr. Jordan or the famous basketball player, just Michael, their friend, their family. The past year had been extraordinary. True to his word, Michael had visited the Southside Community Center every month. Sometimes he came to play basketball with the kids. Sometimes he came to mentor teenagers about life after sports. Sometimes he just came to sit in the stands and watch, being present without needing to be the center of attention. But his visits weren't just to their center. Emma had traveled with him twice now to other cities, to other communities he supported. She'd spoken to small groups of donors about what anonymous giving had meant to her family. She'd watched Michael unveil his Community Champions initiative to audiences of wealthy athletes and business leaders, challenging them to adopt their own communities. The initiative was working. In the past year, 17 new donors had committed to funding community centers across the country. 12 more were in discussions. The network Michael had built in secret was becoming a movement in the light. "Emma, Carlos, let's go," Sophia called from the living room. Today was special. Today, the Southside Community Center was hosting its first annual Champions Day, a celebration of everyone who'd grown through the center's programs. Michael would be there, of course. But so would Marcus, who was graduating from Northwestern in 2 weeks. So would 15 other former center kids who'd gone on to college, started businesses, or come back to mentor the next generation. And Emma was giving the opening speech. The community center looked transformed when they arrived. Someone, probably Mr. Thompson with Michael's funding, had decorated the gym with banners featuring photos of center kids from across the decades. Emma saw pictures of Marcus at age 12, angry and lost. Pictures of kids who were now doctors, teachers, engineers, parents. Pictures of families who'd been helped through hard times. And right in the center, a new banner, a photo from last year showing Michael kneeling on the basketball court with his arms around Emma and Carlos, all three of them crying and smiling at the same time. Under it, words in bold letters: "Family is chosen through love." "Emma, you made it." Jamal ran up, wearing a suit that was slightly too big for him. His parents had joined the center's board of directors 6 months ago. "I saved you a seat up front, and guess what? Michael brought someone special." "Who?" "You'll see, it's a surprise." The gym filled quickly. Emma counted at least 300 people, families from the neighborhood, former center kids from across the years, local business owners, teachers, coaches. Even Mrs. Patterson from school was there, beaming with pride. At 9 a.m. sharp, Mr. Thompson took the microphone at center court. "Welcome, everyone, to the first annual Champions Day. 1 year ago, this center was struggling to survive. We were one bad month away from closing our doors forever. But then something miraculous happened. Actually, someone miraculous happened." The crowd laughed, and many eyes turned to where Michael sat in the front row, trying to look inconspicuous in his Bulls cap and sunglasses. "Michael Jordan has taught us many things this year," Mr. Thompson continued. "He's taught us that greatness isn't about fame, it's about impact. He's taught us that champions are made not on courts but in communities. And most importantly, he's taught us that the best way to honor the people we've lost is to protect the people we still have." The crowd applauded and Michael stood, waving briefly before sitting back down. He still wasn't comfortable with public recognition, Emma noticed, but he was learning. Learning that being seen didn't make his kindness less pure, it made it more powerful. "Today, we celebrate everyone who makes this center what it is," Mr. Thompson said. "Our volunteers, our staff, our families, our kids. But first, I want to introduce someone who embodies everything this place stands for. She's 11 years old, she's brilliant, she's grateful, and she's the reason Michael Jordan is sitting in this gym today. Please welcome Emma Rodriguez." Emma's heart hammered as she walked to center court. 300 faces stared at her. She could see Rosa in the third row making the sign of the cross, Sophia holding Carlos's hand, Marcus giving her a thumbs up, and Michael removing his sunglasses so she could see his encouraging smile. Emma took the microphone and suddenly all her nervousness disappeared. She knew exactly what to say. "Hi, everyone, I'm Emma, and I'm here to tell you a story about saying thank you." For the next 10 minutes, Emma told the story of her investigation, finding the envelopes, interviewing witnesses, connecting clues, and finally meeting Michael. But she also told the deeper story, what it meant to be seen when you felt invisible, what it meant to be helped when you felt hopeless, what it meant to discover that kindness wasn't just a nice idea, it was a real force that changed real lives. "A year ago, I thought heroes were perfect people who did extraordinary things," Emma said. "But I learned something better. Heroes are ordinary people who choose to do good things consistently. My hero isn't perfect. He's someone who lost someone he loved and decided that loss would create life instead of just sadness. He's someone who was lonely and decided to build connections instead of walls. He's someone who had every reason to stay hidden but chose to be known because being known meant being real." Emma looked directly at Michael. "Michael, you saved my brother, you saved my family, you saved this community, but more than that, you taught us how to save each other. You showed us that we all have the power to be someone's guardian angel, whether we're famous or not, rich or not, talented or not. We just have to care. We just have to act. We just have to show up." She turned back to the crowd. "So today isn't just about celebrating what Michael has done. It's about celebrating what all of us can do. Every volunteer who gives their time, every donor who gives their money, every kid who refuses to give up on their dreams, every parent who works 3 jobs to keep their family together, every grandmother who prays when things seem impossible. You're all champions. You're all heroes. And this place, Emma gestured around the gym. "This place is where champions are made." The applause was deafening. People stood, cheered, cried. Emma saw Michael wiping his eyes, not even trying to hide his tears anymore. After Emma's speech, Marcus presented an update on his post-graduation plans. He'd accepted a job with an engineering firm in Chicago and would be volunteering at the center 20 hours a week, mentoring kids interested in STEM fields. 3 other college graduates announced similar plans, coming back to the neighborhood, giving back to the place that had given them so much. "The cycle continues," Rosa whispered to Sophia. "Love creating more love." And Michael took the microphone. Even a year later, seeing Michael Jordan stand at center court created a ripple of excitement through the crowd. Some things never got old. "Thank you, Emma, for that speech," Michael said. "And thank you for calling me out for not being perfect. You're right, I'm not. I'm just someone who learned that success without generosity is empty, that championships without community are lonely, that being the greatest at something doesn't matter if you're not also being the kindest." He paused, looking around the gym. "A year ago, I stood here and revealed myself for the first time. It was terrifying. I'd spent 25 years hiding and suddenly I was exposed. But you know what I discovered? Being known is better than being mysterious. Having relationships is better than having privacy. Loving people and letting them love you back, that's better than any trophy I ever won." Michael pulled out a piece of paper from his pocket. "I have some announcements. First, the Community Champions Initiative has officially gone national. We now have 62 centers in 23 cities being supported by anonymous donors. Emma spoke at 3 donor events this year, and her story has inspired millions of dollars in commitments. Give her a round of applause." Emma blushed as people clapped again. "Second," Michael continued, "I'm establishing the Roger Henderson Scholarship Fund named after my uncle. It will provide full college scholarships to 50 students per year, students from community centers like this one, students who have overcome hardship, students who embody the values my uncle taught me: resilience, kindness, and heart. Applications open next month." The crowd gasped. 50 full scholarships per year meant hundreds of kids would get college educations who otherwise couldn't afford them. Third, I'm creating a documentary about anonymous giving. Emma and her family have agreed to be featured, along with Marcus and 12 other families I've helped over the years. The documentary won't be about me, it'll be about them. About how receiving help with dignity changes people. About how gratitude creates cycles of generosity. We're partnering with a streaming service, and all proceeds will go directly to community centers. Mr. Thompson looked like he might faint from happiness. "And finally," Michael smiled, "I have a surprise. Emma, Carlos, can you come up here?" Emma and Carlos walked to center court holding hands. Michael knelt down between them. "Emma, you know how I told you that you taught me being known is better than being hidden? Well, you also taught me that family is chosen. Blood doesn't make family. Love makes family. Choice makes family. Showing up makes family." He pulled 2 envelopes from his jacket, smaller than the donation envelopes but official looking. "These are adoption papers. Not legal adoption, your mom is your mom and that's perfect, but honorary adoption. Papers that officially make you part of my family and me part of yours. Papers that say the Jordan family and the Rodriguez family are connected forever. If you sign them, Carlos becomes my honorary nephew. Emma becomes my honorary niece, and I become your honorary uncle." Emma couldn't breathe. Carlos started crying immediately. Sophia stood up, tears streaming down her face. "You want us to be your family," Emma whispered. "Officially." "You already are my family," Michael said. "This just makes it official. What do you say?" Emma didn't even need to think. She threw her arms around Michael's neck. "Yes, yes, of course, yes." Carlos piled on, creating a 3-person hug at center court. Sophia rushed over, then Rosa, then suddenly the entire Rodriguez family was on the court, hugging and crying and laughing. The crowd went wild, cheering and applauding. When everyone finally separated, Michael pulled out a pen. Emma and Carlos signed the papers first, their signatures shaky with emotion. Then Sophia signed as their mother, giving permission. Then Michael signed, making it official. "Welcome to the Jordan family," Michael said, hugging them again. "And welcome to the Rodriguez family to me." "Does this mean we can come visit you in Charlotte?" Carlos asked. It means you have to come visit me in Charlotte, Michael corrected. Family visits family, and it means I'll be at every one of your birthday parties, every school play, every important moment. That's what family does. Even when we're not interesting or famous, Emma asked. Especially then, Michael said. Emma, you're going to do great things in life, but even if you don't, even if you just grow up to be a kind person who helps others, that's enough. That's everything. I'll be proud of you no matter what. The ceremony continued with performances from Center Kids, a dance group, a choir, a spoken word poet. But Emma barely registered any of it. She kept looking at the papers in her hand, at her signature next to Michael Jordan's signature, making them officially family. During lunch, Emma sat with Marcus, Jamal, and surprisingly, a young woman she didn't recognize, beautiful, mid-30s with Michael's smile. Emma, this is Jasmine, Michael said, introducing them. My daughter. I wanted her to meet the girl who changed her father's life. Emma's jaw dropped. Michael Jordan's daughter was here, at their community center, meeting her. Dad's told me so much about you, Jasmine said warmly. About how you investigated him, found him, and basically forced him to stop hiding. Thank you for that. I've been telling him for years he needed real connections, not just charitable donations. You succeeded where I failed. I just wanted to say thank you, Emma said shyly. And look what that thank you created, Jasmine gestured around the gym. All of this, the Community Champions Initiative, the documentary, the scholarship fund, Dad being actually happy for the first time in years. One thank you changed everything. Later that afternoon, after most of the crowd had left, Emma found herself sitting in the bleachers with Michael, watching Carlos and some other kids play basketball on the court. Do you regret it? Emma asked. Revealing yourself, giving up your privacy. Michael thought about it seriously. Sometimes, when I'm trying to eat dinner and someone asks for an autograph, when I can't just be anonymous anymore, but mostly, no, I don't regret it at all, because what I gained is so much better than what I lost. What did you gain? This, Michael said simply, gesturing to the gym. Real relationships, real connections, getting to watch Carlos grow up, getting to mentor you and Marcus, getting to be part of something bigger than basketball, bigger than fame, bigger than anything I did on the court. Emma, I won 6 NBA championships. But this, he pointed to Carlos making a basket and shouting with joy, this is the real championship. This is the one that matters. Emma leaned against his shoulder and Michael put his arm around her. They sat like that for a long time, watching kids play, watching families laugh, watching community happen. Uncle Michael, Emma said softly. Yeah, kiddo. Thank you for everything. For Carlos, for our family, for being exactly who you are. No, Emma, thank you for seeing me, for finding me, for reminding me that the best way to honor the people we've lost is to fully love the people we still have. They sat in comfortable silence until Rosa called them over for cake. As they walked across the court together, Emma realized something. This was what healing looked like. Not forgetting pain, but transforming it. Not avoiding loss, but honoring it through love. Not hiding from connection, but embracing it even when it was scary. Michael had lost Uncle Roger 36 years ago, but through his grief, he'd saved thousands of people. Through his pain, he'd created hope. Through his loneliness, he'd built family. And Emma had almost lost Carlos 4 years ago, but through that fear, she'd learned gratitude. Through that struggle, she'd found her purpose. Through that investigation, she gained a family member she never knew she needed. That evening, the Rodriguez family and Michael gathered at their apartment for dinner. Rosa had cooked enough food for 20 people even though there were only 7. Sophia, Rosa, Emma, Carlos, Uncle Miguel, Tia Carmen, and Michael. Michael Jordan, eating homemade tamales in a tiny South Side apartment, laughing at Carlos's terrible jokes, helping Emma with her math homework, listening to Rosa's stories about the old neighborhood, being family. I have an announcement, Carlos said during dessert. I've decided what I want to be when I grow up. What's that, Mijo? Sophia asked. I want to be a doctor, like the doctors who saved me. But I want to be the kind of doctor who helps people even when they don't have money, like Michael helps people. Michael's eyes filled with tears. That's the best thing I've heard all year, Carlos. The world needs doctors like that, doctors with heart. Will you help me study? Carlos asked. When I'm older and in medical school. I'll be there every step of the way, Michael promised. That's what uncles do. Emma pulled out her journal, the one Michael had given her a year ago, now almost full of entries. She wrote, "1 year ago I met my hero. Today I sat next to my uncle. That's the whole story, really. Heroes become human when we let them. Strangers become family when we choose them. Gratitude becomes relationship when we act on it. Michael taught me that greatness isn't about being better than everyone else. It's about making everyone else better. He taught me that real wealth isn't money, it's connection. Real success isn't fame, it's impact. Real love isn't quiet, it's present. A year ago, I wanted to say thank you to an anonymous donor. Today, I said I love you to my uncle. That's the best mystery I ever solved. Not finding out who Michael Jordan was, but discovering who we could become together. Investigation complete. Family forever. Emma Rodriguez, age 11, niece, sister, investigator, and champion of the thing that matters most, love." As Emma closed her journal, Michael caught her eye across the table and winked. She winked back, a secret communication between family members who understood each other perfectly. Outside, the Southside neighborhood hummed with evening life. Basketball courts filled with kids, families sat on porches, music played from open windows. Life continued, ordinary and beautiful. But in one small apartment, something extraordinary was happening. A family was being built not from blood, but from choice. Gratitude. From love that refused to stay quiet. From a 10-year-old girl who'd refused to let a hero stay hidden. From a legend who'd learned that being known was better than being mysterious. From a community that proved every single day that the real championship isn't won on a court. It's won in the hearts of people who choose to love each other fiercely, generously, and forever. The truth had come out a year ago. Michael Jordan had donated quietly for years, saving lives from the shadows. But the deeper truth was just beginning. The greatest victory isn't in the giving or the receiving. It's in the relationship that forms when gratitude meets generosity, when thank you becomes I love you, when hero becomes family. That's the real championship. And it lasts forever. 15 years later. Dr. Carlos Rodriguez stood in the surgical observation room at Chicago Children's Hospital, his hands still trembling slightly from the successful operation he just completed. A 7-year-old girl with the same heart condition he'd once had would wake up tomorrow with a future she almost didn't have. He pulled out his phone and sent a text to the family group chat. "Surgery successful. Another life saved. Thank you for teaching me why this matters." Within seconds, responses flooded in. "Emma, proud of you, Hermanito. Uncle Michael would be so proud too. Sofia, mi hijo the doctor, folded dread. Rosa, Dios te bendiga, Carlos. You carry love in your hands." Carlos smiled at the messages, but his eyes lingered on Emma's text. Uncle Michael would be so proud. Would be, past tense. Michael Jordan had passed away 6 months ago at age 73. Peacefully, surrounded by family, including the Rodriguez family who'd rushed to Charlotte when they got the call. Carlos had held Michael's hand in those final hours, just as Michael had metaphorically held his hand through his entire medical education. The funeral had been massive, presidents, celebrities, thousands of fans. But the private service beforehand, just for family, had been small. Emma had delivered the eulogy, standing strong even as tears rolled down her cheeks. "Uncle Michael taught us that greatness isn't measured in championships," Emma had said. "It's measured in lives touched, in families saved, in love given without expecting anything in return. He was the greatest basketball player who ever lived. But more importantly, he was the greatest uncle, friend, and human being we ever knew." Carlos finished his notes on the surgery and headed out of the hospital. At 22 years old, fresh out of medical school and in his first year of residency, he was exhausted. But it was the good kind of exhausted, the kind that came from purpose, from knowing you'd made a difference. His phone rang. "Emma." "Hey, Dr. Rodriguez," his sister said warmly. "How'd the surgery go?" "Perfect, no complications. She'll make a full recovery." "Just like you did." "Just like I did," Carlos agreed. "Thanks to Uncle Michael. I keep thinking about that, you know. If he hadn't paid for my surgery 17 years ago, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be saving other kids. That one act of kindness, it's still rippling forward." "That's what I'm calling about, actually," Emma said. "I need your help with something. Can you meet me at the old community center tomorrow, around 2 p.m.? The Southside Center, of course, what's going on? You'll see, just trust me, it's important. Carlos smiled. Emma was 26 now, an investigative journalist for the Chicago Tribune. She'd built an entire career around uncovering stories of anonymous kindness, shining light on people who gave quietly. Her series Hidden Heroes had won a Pulitzer Prize last year, but when Emma said "trust me" with that particular tone in her voice, it usually meant she was up to something big. The next day, Carlos drove to the old neighborhood. The Southside Community Center looked different now, expanded, renovated, beautiful. The Michael Jordan Community Center, the sign now read. They'd renamed it 5 years ago, with Michael's reluctant permission. "Only if you keep the focus on the community, not on me," Michael had said. "And only if you promise to keep helping kids the way we've always done." They'd kept that promise. Inside, Carlos found Emma standing at center court, but she wasn't alone. The gym was filled with people, dozens of them, maybe 100. Carlos recognized some faces: Mr. Thompson, now 80 but still involved with the center; Coach Davis, retired but still mentoring; Dr. Kim from the hospital; Patricia Holmes, the postal worker who'd helped solve the original mystery. But there were also faces Carlos didn't recognize. Young adults, middle-aged parents, elderly grandparents, all standing quietly waiting. "Carlos," Emma called, waving him over. "Perfect timing. Everyone, this is my brother, Dr. Carlos Rodriguez. Carlos, meet the family." "What family?" Carlos asked, confused. Emma smiled, that detective smile Carlos knew so well. "Uncle Michael's other families, the ones he helped over 40 years. They've come from all over the country to be here today." Carlos's breath caught. He looked around the gym with new eyes. These were people Michael had saved. People whose lives had been changed by anonymous donations, quiet interventions, secret kindness. "How many?" Carlos started. 347 people, Emma said, representing about 120 families. "These are the ones we could find and who could travel here. There are thousands more out there, people Uncle Michael helped who never even knew it was him." A woman in her 40s stepped forward. "Dr. Rodriguez, I'm Jennifer Chen. Your uncle paid for my mother's cancer treatment 20 years ago. She survived another 15 years because of him. I got to have my mother at my wedding, at my children's births. He gave me that gift." A young man, maybe 19, spoke next. "I'm David Williams. Mr. Jordan paid for my entire education, kindergarten through college. I'm starting law school in the fall. I'm going to be a civil rights attorney because he taught me that people with privilege have a responsibility to help people without it." One by one, people shared their stories. Medical bills paid, scholarships given, houses saved from foreclosure, small businesses funded, emergency help provided. Each story different but all connected by the same thread. Michael Jordan had seen them when they were invisible. He'd helped them when they were desperate. He'd changed their lives without needing credit or recognition. "Why are they all here?" Carlos asked Emma quietly. "Why today?" "Because Uncle Michael left instructions," Emma said, pulling out a letter. "Instructions to be opened 6 months after his death. He wanted us to gather everyone he'd helped, everyone we could find, and tell them the whole story. He wanted them to know they weren't alone, that they were part of something bigger, a network of hope that spans 40 years and touches thousands of lives." Emma handed Carlos the letter. It was addressed to both of them, in Michael's distinctive handwriting. "Dear Emma and Carlos, if you're reading this, I'm gone. Don't be sad. I lived a long, full, meaningful life, thanks in large part to both of you. Emma, you taught me that being known is better than being hidden. That connection matters more than privacy. That gratitude creates relationships, and relationships create meaning. Carlos, you taught me that the ripples of kindness never end. You took the help I gave you and transformed it into a career of helping others. You became exactly what I hoped you'd become, not because of your medical degree, but because of your heart. I have one final request. Gather everyone I helped over the years. Tell them they're connected to each other. Tell them they're part of a family, my family, our family. Help them see that they're not isolated stories of charity. They're chapters in a larger story about what happens when people choose love over indifference, action over apathy, connection over isolation." I kept a master journal of everyone I helped. Emma, you'll find it in the safety deposit box. The key is with my attorney. In that journal are thousands of names, addresses, stories. Some people knew I helped them, most didn't. Find them, tell them, connect them. Create a foundation, not the Flight Foundation, which will continue its work. Create something new. Call it the Rodriguez Jordan Foundation, because you too are as much the founders as I am. Make it a place where people who have been helped can help others. Where gratitude becomes action. Where receiving transforms into giving. You've both made me so proud. Not because of your accomplishments, though those are impressive, but because of who you are. Emma, you're the most grateful person I've ever met, and you've built a career celebrating others. Carlos, you're the most compassionate doctor I know, and you treat every patient like their family. You are my family. You've been my family since that day Emma found me, since the moment I stopped hiding and started living. The Rodriguez family saved me as much as I saved them. Never forget that. One more thing, there's a secret room in this community center. Behind the storage closet, there's a false wall. Mr. Thompson knows about it. I had it built 10 years ago. Inside that room is something for both of you, something I've been working on for a decade. Don't open it until everyone is gathered. Then share it with them all. I love you both. I'm proud of you both. And I'll be watching from wherever I am, cheering you on like I always have. Keep being champions. Keep choosing love. Keep saving each other. With all my heart, Uncle Michael. Carlos wiped his eyes. There's a secret room. There's a secret room, Emma confirmed. Mr. Thompson. The elderly director walked over with a key. I've been waiting for this day. Michael made me promise not to open it until you two were ready. I think today's the day. The crowd followed Emma, Carlos, and Mr. Thompson to the storage closet. Sure enough, behind shelves of basketballs and equipment, there was a section of wall that looked slightly different. Mr. Thompson inserted the key into a hidden lock, and a door swung open. Inside was a room about 20 feet square. The walls were covered floor to ceiling with photographs, thousands of them, organized chronologically. Each photo showed a person or family, with a small plaque underneath containing a name and date. This is everyone, Emma breathed. Everyone he helped over 40 years. Carlos walked along the walls, reading names, looking at faces. The early photos were from the 1980s, young Michael, still playing basketball, already starting his secret mission. The photos continued through the decades, showing Michael aging, but the mission never stopping. And there in the center of one wall was the Rodriguez family photo from that first Champions Day. Emma and Carlos hugging Michael, all three crying and smiling. Under it, a plaque read, "The family that found me. The family that saved me. Emma and Carlos Rodriguez, my niece and nephew, my teachers, my greatest gift." But the photos weren't the only thing in the room. In the center stood a large table with a model, an architectural model of a building. Carlos leaned closer to read the label, the Rodriguez Jordan Center for Anonymous Giving, Chicago campus, groundbreaking, TBD. He designed a whole center, Emma said, examining the model. Look, there's an office for coordinating donations, a training center for teaching others how to give anonymously, a gathering space for people who have been helped to meet each other, a research library documenting stories of kindness. It's everything. Next to the model was a folder labeled Complete Plans and Funding. Emma opened it. Inside were architectural drawings, budgets, donor commitments. Michael had planned everything, funded everything. He'd left them a fully operational center for spreading anonymous giving across the world. There's more, Mr. Thompson said, pointing to a corner of the room. In the corner stood 3 objects, Michael's 6 championship rings in a display case, his Olympic gold medals, and his Basketball Hall of Fame plaque. He told me to put them here 2 years ago, Mr. Thompson explained. He said these were his public achievements, but this room, he gestured to the photos, the model, the documented lives changed. This was his real legacy. He wanted you two to have his trophies, not to display them, but to remember, championships are temporary. Love is forever. Carlos picked up the display case containing the championship rings. 6 rings. 6 years of being the absolute best at something, the pinnacle of success. But Michael had given it all away, not literally, but spiritually. He'd realized that being the best at basketball mattered far less than being the best at loving people. Emma addressed the crowd that had gathered in the doorway. Uncle Michael left us instructions to create a foundation. A place where all of us, everyone he helped over the years, could come together, not just to remember him but to continue his work, to help others the way he helped us. She pulled out her phone and projected an image on the wall. Michael's journal entry from the night of the first Champions Day 15 years ago. The entry where he'd written, "Status, blessed." "This is who Uncle Michael was," Emma said. "Someone who kept track of every person he helped. Someone who cared about outcomes, about follow-up, about real relationships. He didn't just write checks and forget. He stayed connected. He kept loving." Emma looked around at all the faces. Everyone in this room has a story about how Uncle Michael changed their lives. But here's what I've learned in the 6 months since he died. We're all connected now. We're all part of his family, and families take care of each other. She pulled out another document. "I've spent the past 3 months finding as many of you as I could. I've documented your stories, and I've discovered something beautiful. You're already helping each other. Jennifer Chen, you donated to David Williams's law school fund. David, you volunteered at Dr. Angela Martinez's free clinic. Angela, you mentored Sarah Thompson's daughter through medical school. The connections are already there. We just didn't know it." Carlos understood what his sister was doing. She was revealing the network, showing everyone that they weren't isolated recipients of charity. They were interconnected members of a family built on gratitude and generosity. "The Rodriguez Jordan Center for Anonymous Giving will open next year," Emma announced. "Carlos and I will run it together, him handling the medical assistance programs, me handling outreach and documentation. But we can't do it alone. We need all of you. We need your stories, your time, your willingness to help others the way Uncle Michael helped you." "What exactly are you asking?" Jennifer Chen asked. "I'm asking you to pay it forward," Emma said simply. "Not with money necessarily, though donations are welcome, but with time, with mentorship, with attention. Uncle Michael saw you when you were invisible. Now we're asking you to see others who are invisible, to be someone else's guardian angel." Carlos stepped forward. "I operate on kids every week who can't afford surgery. Some pay through insurance, some pay out of pocket, but some can't pay at all. Those families, they're drowning in medical debt just like we were 17 years ago. I want to help them the way Uncle Michael helped us. But I need support. I need people willing to contribute to medical funds, to visit families in crisis, to remind them they're not alone." "I'm in," David Williams said immediately. "Whatever you need." "Me too," Jennifer Chen agreed. "My mother would want this." One by one, every person in the room volunteered. Some offered money, some offered time, some offered skills, legal help, medical expertise, business advice. Within an hour, Emma had assembled a team of 347 people committed to continuing Michael's mission. "There's one more thing," Carlos said, pulling out his own letter. "Uncle Michael wrote this to me specifically, separate from the letter to both of us. He asked me to read it today." Carlos unfolded the paper and began. "Carlos, you almost died when you were 4 years old. I paid for your surgery and you survived. But here's what you don't know, I almost didn't help. I almost said no. When Dr. Kim first told me about your case, I was tired. I've been funding surgeries and scholarships and emergency assistance for 15 years. I was starting to feel like no matter how much I gave, it was never enough. There would always be more sick kids, more struggling families, more people who needed help. I almost said no to your family because I was burned out. But then Dr. Kim sent me a photo. You remember, the photo of 8-year-old Emma asleep in your hospital room holding your hand. That photo changed everything. I saw the love. I saw the fierce devotion. I saw a big sister who refused to give up on her little brother. And I thought about Uncle Roger, about how I'd sat with him the same way, about how I'd wished someone would save him. I said yes to your surgery because of Emma's love for you. Carlos, you're a doctor now. You're going to face burnout. You're going to feel exhausted, overwhelmed, like nothing you do is enough. In those moments, remember this. One life saved creates infinite ripples. You don't have to save everyone, you just have to save someone, and that someone will save someone else. And the chain continues forever. You're alive today because I saw love and chose to honor it. Now you save others and they'll save others, and the ripple goes on and on. That's the real legacy, not the championships, not the fame. The endless ripple of love creating more love. You're my ripple, Carlos. You're proof that it worked. That one act of kindness 17 years ago is still creating good in the world through your hands, through your heart, through your choices. Never forget, you're a miracle. And miracles have a responsibility to create more miracles. I love you, nephew. I'm proud of you. And I'll always be with you, every surgery, every patient, every life you save. Keep being my ripple, Uncle Michael. Carlos couldn't finish the last paragraph without breaking down. Emma rushed to his side, holding him as he cried. Around them, 347 people stood in respectful silence, many crying themselves. He's right, Carlos finally said, his voice thick with emotion. We're all ripples. Everyone in this room, we're proof that kindness doesn't end. It keeps spreading, keeps multiplying, keeps creating more good. Emma pulled out her detective notebook, the same one she'd used 15 years ago, now worn and filled with 15 years of notes. She turned to the last page and read aloud. Final entry, written today. The truth came out 17 years ago when I discovered Michael Jordan had been our anonymous donor. But that wasn't the real truth. That was just the beginning. The real truth is this: love is infinite. When you save one person, you save everyone they'll touch. When you help one family, you help all the families they'll help in return. When you choose kindness once, you create a ripple that never ends. Michael Jordan was the greatest basketball player who ever lived. But that's not why I loved him. I loved him because he showed me that everyone, famous or not, rich or poor, talented or ordinary, everyone has the power to change the world. We just have to care enough to try. He saved my brother 17 years ago. My brother now saves others. Those others will save more. The ripple goes on forever. That's the truth that came out today. Not just that Michael was generous, we already knew that. But that his generosity created a family of 347 people who are committed to being generous themselves. That his kindness multiplied into an army of kindness. The investigation is finally complete. Not because I found Michael, I did that years ago, but because I finally understand what he was trying to teach me. The point of being saved isn't just to survive, it's to save others. The point of receiving isn't just to be grateful, it's to give in return. Michael Jordan donated quietly for years. The truth came out 15 years ago. But the bigger truth, the truth about how love multiplies, about how kindness never dies, about how one person's generosity can echo through generations, that truth is just coming out today. And it will keep coming out forever, through every life we touch, every person we help, every choice we make to see the invisible and love the overlooked. This is Emma Rodriguez, signing off from the greatest investigation of my life. Case closed, legacy ongoing, family forever. The truth is, love wins. It always has, it always will. Emma closed the notebook and looked around at all the faces in the secret room, Michael's secret legacy, his real championship. Uncle Michael once told me that real greatness isn't about being better than others, Emma said. It's about making others better. Everyone in this room is better because of him. Now it's our turn. Let's make others better. Let's be the ripple that keeps spreading. How do we start? Someone called out. Emma smiled. We start the way Uncle Michael started. We look around for someone who's invisible and we see them. We find someone who's struggling and we help them. We take the love we received and we give it away. That's all. That's everything. Carlos added, and we do it quietly when we can. Not for recognition, not for credit, but because it's right. Because we know what it feels like to be drowning and have someone throw us a lifeline. We throw lifelines now. The meeting lasted another 3 hours. They formed committees, made plans, established the framework for the Rodriguez-Jordan Foundation. By the end, they had a structure, a network of 347 people committed to anonymous giving, to quiet kindness, to seeing the invisible. As people filed out promising to return for the center's groundbreaking ceremony, Carlos stood alone in the secret room, looking at Michael's championship rings. 6 rings, the symbol of being the absolute best. But Carlos understood now. These rings weren't Michael's real achievement. The photos on the walls were. The 347 people who just committed to continuing his mission were. The countless lives that would be saved because of the ripples he'd started, those were his real championship. Thank you, Uncle Michael, Carlos whispered to the empty room. For saving me, for teaching me, for showing me that being great at something doesn't matter as much as being good to people. I promise I'll keep being your ripple. I promise I'll never forget. He felt a hand on his shoulder. Emma. He knew, you know, Emma said softly. He knew that by saving you, he was saving all the people you'd save. He knew that by revealing himself to us, he'd inspire thousands more. He knew that his story wouldn't end with his death, it would multiply through us. "Do you think we can do it?" Carlos asked. "Live up to his legacy?" Emma smiled. "We already are. You saved a little girl yesterday. I wrote an article last week that inspired 3 new donors to fund community centers. The legacy isn't something we have to chase. It's something we're already living." They stood together in the secret room, surrounded by 40 years of documented kindness, holding their uncle's greatest achievements, not the rings, but the knowledge that love multiplies infinitely when you're brave enough to give it away. Outside, the Chicago sun was setting over the south side, casting long shadows across basketball courts where kids still played, still dreamed, still believed that a poor neighborhood kid could become anything, even a champion, because that's what Michael had taught them. That's what he'd proven through 40 years of quiet generosity. That's what Emma and Carlos would spend the rest of their lives proving too. Everyone is worthy of being saved. Everyone has the power to save others. And love, real love, active love, generous love never ever dies. It just keeps rippling forward, forever. 15 years after Emma found her hero, the ripple of kindness continues spreading across America. 347 families, thousands of lives changed, all because one person chose to give quietly and one girl chose to say thank you loudly. Michael Jordan taught us that real greatness isn't about championships or fame. It's about seeing people who feel invisible and showing them they matter. It's about turning your pain into someone else's hope. Emma showed us that gratitude has power. That saying thank you can change lives. That sometimes the bravest thing you can do is refuse to let kindness hide in the shadows. So here's my question for you. Where are you listening from right now? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Let's see how far this message of kindness has spread. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button. It helps us reach more people who need to hear that kindness is real, that heroes exist, and that one person really can change the world. Subscribe to this channel to join our community of people who believe in spreading love and generosity. And click on the video appearing on your screen right now to hear another incredible true story that will restore your faith in humanity. Remember, you don't need to be Michael Jordan to be someone's hero. You just need to care enough to help. Pass it on.